PHL Season 2 is upon us, and with it comes a brand new format designed to be in step with the format of the official DreamHack Major. In this format, Cash Out and Final Round will both be used throughout the entire season, with the most important matches being reserved for 3v3 Final Round in true finals fashion. The regular season plays out over 3 weeks, with playdays on both Wednesdays and Saturday, but this time around, the days go hand in hand. Wednesday playdays will play out like the normal playdays from past seasons, with shuffled groups each week playing 5 cash-out matches and earning points based on placement and kills. But these points will work to sort teams into groups for Saturday. The best 4 teams from Wednesday will be in Group A, the second 4 teams in Group B, with the bottom 4 teams in Group C. This is where the majority of points will be earned. The groups will play a single match of cash-out, then the top 2 play a final round best of 3 for first and second. Bottom 2 playing for third and fourth, the top 2 from Group B play for fifth and sixth, etc. down the line. At the end of league play, the top 8 teams will qualify for their regional championships. Unlike previous seasons, there will be no inter-regional competition. We'll save that for the major. Now let's talk about the championships. Spots 1 through 6 will be locked for champs, but 7th through 10th place will compete in a last chance play-in. The championships are going to be using the same format from day 2 of the major, with 2 stages. Stage 1 will be a series of cash-out matches with final round 3v3 matches to eliminate 4 teams, leaving the top 4. Stage 2 will use the match point system, also known as the heat system used in the major. 4 teams will play cash-out, with the top 2 teams progressing into 2 final round matches, teams earning a point for every final round win. A winner will be crowned when a team reaches 5 final round wins. Welcome to PHL Season 2. We hope you enjoy the ride.
That's 2 from graduating. He's done it. He's finding success in the middle of this furball. Absolute calamity from this.
The winch is going to stall it, and he's done it! He's done it!
Unbelievable from OG. Carries the team. How has Carnifex got away with that? He even gets the second. It is time to dive into this. It is PHL Playday 5, the last of Cash Out here for Europe. My name's Whippet. I'm joined by my fellow countryman Zep, ready to dive into this one. Cash Out for the last time here in Europe. It's calling.
Yeah, really looking forward to getting into this one, as you said, fellow Irishman, fellow countrymen. So nice to finally have the opportunity to cast with another Irish fella. So really looking forward to getting into it. Again, my first time getting to grace the glorious, wonderful game that is the finals. So super excited to get into all the games that we have this evening.
I cannot wait to get to this one, and this is the really exciting thing. At this stage, Europe has a landscape already kind of shaping up nicely. I think our top 3 teams are going to be very comfortable going in, getting ready for champs, which isn't too far away. But that middle table, and that bottom side, still lots of room for movement going into it, and some big results and point tallies we saw going into yesterday. But with our groups for this week, or for this day going into it, I'm very curious about, I had it my notes here about which group I'm actually looking forward to. Group C at the end of our day. I'm very kind of keep your eyes peeled for that one. Fnatic versus Team Secret. Teams 1 and 2 in our standings will go head to head in our cash out, and that will be very interesting how they play themselves out for our games on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be so much fun to see how these teams fare out against each other as well. And, you know, from my perspective in particular, just getting to see a lot of these teams competing live in person, getting to commentate over them for the first time and really getting to sort of feel and understand how they play the game, the pace that they do set. Again, going at this one from a bit of a newbie perspective, I'm sure all of you more experienced folk out there will be sighing and nodding your heads at a couple of things I say, but do bear with me. I've got the expert Whippet here to be able to carry me through and carry this broadcast through. And I said, I'm just really looking forward to seeing at the level of these 2 teams bring in this broadcast and multiple teams throughout the broadcast, because again, having had the chance to catch some of the finals here and there, the intensity, the pace just seems so top notch all the time that I can't wait to see and break it down in front of me live.
Well, I tell you what, we can take a look at our first group going forward for this one, Group A today, and the big thing for me is going to be, we've kind of got a split one here. Alliance is going to be our number third seed team going in this one. Pulsar, White, Upcoming, and Knives Hammer Brisket. Listen, I might be the leader of the Average Man fan club here, but looking at our vetoes coming out, it'll be Sis Horizon, Soul, Fortress Stadium, and Bernal around things up nicely. I'm actually a big fan of our maps that they've went out here, but for me, the big storyline is who's going to be able to find themselves consistently in that second place. Pulsar have had, I think, a difficult run so far. They need to get their point tally up, they have the potential. This is a chance to prove themselves up against teams like Alliance.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to be getting ourselves into the lobby now very shortly. Love to see it getting in and involved straight away. Looking forward to seeing what these teams bring to the table. And again, you know, plenty of time to get into this one as it's the first game of the evening. You have a little bit of time to get warmed up, or do you? I mean, we will see again the pace that they do set against each other. Is it going to be 100 miles an hour straight away? Is there going to be a little bit of that just feeling each other out to set the rhythm again? Have they had the opportunity to play themselves throughout the season already? Do they know what they're going to be bringing to the table against each other and be able to go gung-ho straight away? It's just a matter of waiting and seeing.
My big concern is that we saw Alliance in the previous Wednesday games essentially be left uncontested for cash out. And my concern here is, again, for a side like Pulsar White, we know that they're in a position where they can get a huge points tally. They can climb. They're currently sat in 8th in our standings. If they get a good score here, those points tally could be huge for them. They shouldn't want to play into third parties of Upcoming and Knives Hammer Brisket. I think they should be able to take the fight to Alliance, because you can't let Alliance just sit uncontested. As we get ready for this one, Las Vegas will kick us off here. PHL Playday 5 is now finally underway. And, well, I saw a lot of Alliance skins. Maybe some psychological war for the dive into the opposition, but we lock in here and we'll hop on board immediately. And it looks like our initial fight's going to arrive from Alliance and Upcoming. They'll scrap themselves at the bottom of the casino around by Vault 2. Barrel already held by the side of Carney. Gonna try and lob one out early.
Yeah, getting straight into the danger zone there, trying to pick up the vault around the point, as we're seeing again, just making these couple of extra avenues, these ways to maneuver around the map to set themselves up where they want to go. And so far, it's just all feeling each other out, getting themselves set up around the space. Yet to see a gunfight take place on screen at the very least, as all these teams are looking to get themselves set up early.
Brisket is going to find himself an opening engagement. It looks like Knives Hammer Brisket's finding Pulsar early in the mix of that now. We do have our goo sledge heavy of Average Man in effect. Now, they were very good at playing as a third-party side. They got Kirawani on that grapple as well, diving in through the floor. Jordan does get the opening pick on the Cornitex on the other side of the map, but the sledgehammer and the goo gun combination, trying to fight up close and personal. And he's trying to bait around this corner. Huge pick on the Jordan, unfortunately. That's going to be the BFR. Shuts him down. Denari is going to be caught with that. Silas finds the res on the Jordan. And, well, Brisket and Kirawani still standing from their side. Can they hold the defense up here? Repositions are here, and I think Jordan going to try and tap this to try and draw a reaction out from the side of Knives Hammer Brisket.
Yeah, on the tap, potentially going to try and get the recapture all together. Again, terrific play from them just to get themselves set up around the point. They are dominating it so far. Again, they have it locked down, but for how long? Shots coming in from afar, no real damage done as of yet. So far, just a very good play for them. Again, a standout moment, which has given them a lot of control around this B point.
That BFR just so nasty to work with. The throwing knives of Kirawani. He's not going to be able to find that consistent damage, and he's going to get beaten down to the pulp. A single pip of HP to work with. The Deuce Red Barrel. Oh no. The Red Barrel attempt to drop it down to the next level. The parking lot, unfortunately, the C4 was primed and ready, and that will take him to the grave. And Average Man is back, so is Brisket. Just an unfortunate positioning for them, timing out, unfortunately. Pulsar not having success up against Alliance yet. Alliance left uncontested. Average Man going to be able to carve his way through the map and try and fight for a revive. He gets the totem. No, it's stuck under debris. A nice little burst of that goo gun gets them back. And I like this from the side of Upcoming. Sit in the shipping container and wait. Hold your breath as you're going to try and bait this in. You know you're going to be up against Average Man who's going to be playing in these close quarter fights. Do they have a C4 prep to drop it? They should do, and they'll try and drop him straight into it. And he's going to take so much damage. He has to disengage and find that RPG. He'll get healed up nicely by his medium. Brisk has an important role to play, but they have to get this goo gun in effect. They have to get this sledgehammer to make a play. Or will they try and dive a steal with that cover of the goo? I don't think they have that option, and I think this cash out's confirmed at this point. As Upcoming get themselves phase 1 locked in for this side. Well, Alliance uncontested so far. Pulsar finally beginning to show this, and this box in the middle of the open gets winched straight back. Can Alliance hold on up here against Pulsar White?
Well, it was terrific from Upcoming what we saw. Again, just to play the time to bait out that B point. Nice Hammer and Brisket not able to do enough in time. And as you say, it's now Alliance who are trying to lock this one down as well. Again, you're seeing the healing come in, the shotgun out to play, the repeater, should I say, going on the chase, going for a vital wave of kills to try and guarantee this point themselves. It's all over. It is chaos as they're on the chase to get this kill taken out and should be able to hold on to this point. You would think from this point, Luck's just about done. That cash out looks through.
Alliance done enough in the early stage to find it. Not going to be able to get success to that repeater yet again. Carnifex picks up Devil's Work in the midst of this, and it will be all down to 1v1 here. No, actually, my eyes deceive me. Pulsar White tucked the wipe in the midst of that. And that's going to be a difficult one. Alliance had almost a free ride here. And I'm very curious. We obviously didn't see what was going on, but Pulsar seemed very passive in that fight. They allowed the cash box timer just to tick away in favor of Alliance, and that's not what you want to do. Again, Alliance, they are going into this 3rd seed in our global leaderboards for Europe, and this is a team you want to take the fight. So you don't want to ignore them, because this mess between Knives, Hammer, Brisket, Upcoming, it's going to be a difficult fight. You don't want to be in here because you don't know how it's going to go. At least Alliance, you can find consistency. We do see a plug. Upcoming's got control of cash box C, and this BFR are mounted up on the roof. You leave yourself exposed a little bit too long. He can take your life in mere moments.
Seeing the setup here looking pretty damn strong, as again you do have Pulsar White in and around towards that point, trying to get that recaptured. So far not happening though. There's destruction all over once again. More chaos ensues. The dome shield through, trying to rotate out here. Dirani managing, did he end up getting out of his life there? I believe he may have. An average man coming through with that sledgehammer again, looking to cause even more chaos, and this is all over the place. But so far it is still Upcoming with that C capture. Over halfway through now, 12k halfway towards the bank, but a capture coming in here from Pulsar White.
Pulsar going to try and stick this. The damage doesn't seem to be good enough to get a Telco. He'll stick that one out. They got a gateway for an emergency exit, and they'll take that straight back to the roof. AK getting brought out this time. Unusual pickup. You normally see him sticking out towards that FAMAS these times, but he's going to play the high ground. This is going to be very important, doesn't it? Again, Alliance left uncontested. Finally, though, Pulsar got themselves in a dominant position. High ground held over C, time in their favor. Upcoming with a fairly decent spawn to get back in the action, but they don't really have a key option. They'll take that gateway, get themselves to the back of the tunnel, but at this point, surely Pulsar can hold on. Great pad up. No glitch getting deployed yet. We're finding the damage to the M11. He'll try and chase down and gets a huge pick. We've waved goodbye to a Telco, but will this be enough? Is time going to be against them? Diving in, the cash box just falls even further, and in arrives a perfect winch person, gives his life. Will they try and stick this one out? I think they have time. Maybe, just maybe, from the side of Upcoming. Yes, they do! Perfectly played, and Pulsar White beaten to the punch as Upcoming find themselves on the cash box, and well, up on board here as Average Man runs straight into Alliance with Palmer.
Could that have been any closer? Talk about right on a knife's edge. And Alliance here, as you pointed out earlier, have had a relatively clean run so far in their captures. But of course, once it passed that halfway mark, all eyes set towards them. But so far, they seem to be successfully holding that defense that looks just about locked in. And they've had the slightly easier time of it, but they've been still making it work. 30,000 in the bank in second place. Terrific performance from them so far.
Getting ready now for our 3rd phase of action. Lots of very close here at the top between Alliance and Upcoming. Alliance, though, again, we saw this last Wednesday, are not being contested at the same rate. And I imagine for Pulsar at this stage, they're going to be trailing in 4th place, really in desperate days for them. And I got to wonder, double dip or nothing for them to try and pull themselves back into the map here of Vegas. And we'll even maybe try and dabble with a 3rd party. Great pickup there. Jordan finds it. Treason's going to be the first to fall. Glitch sent out to mark that retreat. I'm just going to try and play for control here on the vault. M11 just a little bit reaching for its range, but we'll find some damage. Successful on the Knives, Hammer, Brisket. Kirwani escapes with their life in tow. I wonder if you can get in position, you can maybe make an escape with that grapple, but the goo gun's going to cause some problems. Huge damage done. Brisket picks him up with the repeater. An Average Man with that heal topped up might be able to dive away and get this in towards the next cash box. They do run into some resistance, but I think there might be a chance for Pulsar. Oh, this is going to get split. No, it's going to get double. What a gateway!
Oh my word. I mean, this is just getting so intense here at the moment as Upcoming trying to get this cash out through, trying to get it over towards this A point. They're going to be able to get it locked down, but going to have to put up with a defense that's they're not even going to be able to take it. That is how strongly they're being contested here. Not even getting it onto the A point as of yet, but going on the chase, moving it up. now trying to keep this one locked down. But I mean, you see that push that's incoming from Pulsar. They are all around. This is going to be a huge defensive effort to try and get in, and almost having to give up control of this A point here as they realize that if they'd just gotten pushed straight in, would have lost their lives quickly and would have had to wait even longer.
This is actually an amazing play here. They're going to try and actually flip it from below, boost it up on a single nodule of goo, and now you have a sledgehammer to play down below. You drop this box once more from Nice Hammer Brisket, and all of a sudden, you create a very close quarters, very scrappy fight, and the fact this is being doubled means that every team's forced into this fight. Comically large spoon. Will it be a comically large steal from the side of Knives Hammer Brisket? And they can get away with this one. Take that #1 spot. Looks like it's going to fall initially in towards them. They'll try and drop away. Great movement with that goo just to keep them on that position. And they'll set that C4 for a drop down below. I have a feeling this will be a scrappy final 50 seconds.
Yeah, it is looking like it is going to be intense. One kill coming through. Terrific to sort of wean down the numbers of Alliance. Completely gone. They have to wait for the respawn. So it is all in the bag of upcoming here potentially if they can make this one work. But again, everyone corralled around this point now. They're going to start engaging soon. 3/4 of the way gone. If you're going to make a move, you're going to have to make it now, and this one's about to get intense.
30 seconds to try and make an impact here. 7 seconds steal, so you're going to dive on in and play aggressive forward. This Fortress of Goo, though, is going to work out in perfect favor for the defensive side of Knives Hammer Brisket, and they might be able to hold the line. They have themselves postured up as it looks like upcoming will make a final dive in. Everyone in close quarters proximity and try and make a play, but Alliance, they might be able to sneak this one in the midst of the chaos and try and find a steal. Drop down with it, a C4. They can't get it flipped in their favor. No one can make it work, and Knives Hammer Brisket should be able to hold on, will be able to hold on. They take #1, upcoming in second. Alliance drop to third. Pulsar take out #4 in that positioning. What a pivot we saw in our last second of play there.
That was absolutely insane from start to finish. I mean, my word, what a game. Super close as well. As you say, Knives Hammer and Brisket being able to take it, but for the longest time, it was, you know, they did again have plays, but you wondered if they had enough consistency throughout the map to be able to come through with a moment like that, but being able to get that all-important capture, huge for them. Terrific plays across the board, and again, really tight because we were seeing Alliance who it ended up finishing third, but again, it was a terrific performance of them for a lot of the areas throughout the map, but again, when you drop all those players and you have to wait in that respawn time, it can just absolutely destroy any chance you have of making an impact late game. What a performance all around.
The big thing for me, yet again, is it felt like we saw one of our top dog org teams be completely ignored for a majority of that match. Alliance get themselves 2 cash boxes without major contests from the other sides. Upcoming found themselves in consistent fights with Knives Hammer Brisket, and Pulsar, I think they were passengers for a lot of the game here on Vegas. They felt very distant. And again, this is a team with endless potential. They're 8th in our standings going into today. And it just felt a little bit flat from them yet again. I think, again, that initial fight where they just let Alliance have that control. Obviously, we didn't see the full perspective. But you got to wonder if they just were not confident enough to take those early fights against Alliance, let them grow that advantage, and let themselves slip away from it. But Knives Hammer Brisket, last second pivot, they get that double dip, they steal it, they convert it, and they played that perfectly. They kited away, set up a C4 down below, and all of a sudden, when it gets that close quarters fight, no one can take full advantage. Alliance tried to, but they couldn't get it done.
Yeah, again, just having that C4 worked a great effect just to buy more time at that crucial pivotal moment. And you do raise a fantastic point as well about Alliance. It's very curious to see that not many people decided to take them on at the very beginning. I mean, as you said, that point 1 was virtually uncontested, and then the second time around, again, I think completely uncontested till it was at least halfway through. You had made a comment on it during the game, and again, is that confidence of just whether or not you feel like you can take them on. But I feel like in this game mode, you don't really have a choice at a certain point. You need to get yourselves into those gunfights where if you're in a 3-way battle and it's not working, you need to siphon yourself off and to have it be 2-2 versus 2-2. Take on those other fights early, try and sneak a point on the outskirts, because if you're too scared to take on a team like Alliance, then Alliance are going to be able to save a lot of what they have in the bag towards those end game crucial moments. They weren't able to do so there, but I mean, if you had them a little more contested throughout those first 2 points, were they going to have any chance in comparison to the chance that they did have going into end game of what we just seen?
I think I have to agree with you perfectly, and I do feel we mentioned this actually. I think I already touched on it last Wednesday's games as well. Sometimes you leave a team that's a little bit uncontested like this, they get a little bit cold into a game. You know, they're warmed up, they're ready, they get into the lobby, and all of a sudden for those first two vaults, they fight for the vault, they get a cash out, they're left uncontested, and it can cool a team off, and that might be a factor. But they couldn't dive in the midst of that chaos. And I have a feeling, I've got a I want to see a lot of pressure get put on Alliance from these sides, particularly from Knives Hammer Brisket. I think if you can try and dogpile in, force third parties, they can really upset our third place team in standings. Sis Horizon, our second map, it was chosen from the side of Alliance. We get ready to dive in this one, and I do love this. I really think that towards the university, in towards the libraries, in towards these central buildings, it can be so compacted. I want to see the Hammer of Average Man have a huge success, and realistically, I'm going to have massive eyes on what Pulsar can do, because they need to try and find momentum here. They cannot keep hemorrhaging away points in cash out games like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you raise a great point as well on Alliance. You know, if you can shut them down, you can put the pressure on them early in a map that they chose, especially after such a weak start, then you're really going to be putting them on the back foot. And what a shot as well we did see from Person there. I mean, talk about accuracy. I only wish I could hit shots like that with any weapon from any range.
Honestly, the things we have seen from the BFR Titans so far in this season have been amazing. So hard hitting, so damaging, and even in those close quarter team fights, it can have an impact. An early plug from upcoming. It looks like Alliance will find themselves in a fight with Knife Hammer Brisket Kirwani, the last one standing. Won't last too long and does get wiped away, locked up by Palma. We'll hop on board the Telco, and this is the problem, right? The cash out in the middle of A is so secluded. You have to make a very desperate dive. It's not going to be close enough to winch in the cover. These buildings are too far away. You might have to play for a winch pad if that's going to be your intention to get it in the cover. But so far, it looks like it's just going to be a story of trying to kite, trying to play, trying to waste time as much as possible. They're going to try and go for the steal here, and I think they're going to try.
Oh my. This is getting very intense all around. Even on the production side of things, we're bouncing between more camera angles than taken. My goodness. Liam Neeson, eat your heart out. As we're seeing the seal come through here. Jordan trying to get into this cash out early, get that AK for themselves with the point nearly halfway gone. That is a very nice transition, but will they be able to hold? I mean, again, early doors, but as you say, that 8 point's so secluded. I mean, getting into the point is fine. Getting out around it is going to be an issue as we see one more come through. Elimination. And again, that 8 point looking relatively secure, although mind you, it's almost kind of hard to tell from this angle. As you say, it is a very weird point, isn't it? That A spot, very difficult to defend and attack.
You're going to find a lot of these teams just going to try and fight by the bottom of these buildings. It's the best place to find cover, best place to have an impact. Great dome shield, and that's going to be a wipe taken from the side of Pulsar. And that should be a fairly easy flip to get that box back in their favor. Knives Hammer Brisket take another wipe. That will be Treason, who finds Average Man, locks that one out. So two teams wiped, and the cash boxes held from the side of Alliance as well as upcoming. And well, Denari finds himself 3 picks in the midst of that. Carnifax leads a charge for the side of Alliance. And a quiet day in the office for Pulsar. And Knives Hammer Brisket so far.
Yeah, this has not been a terrific day from Knives Hammer Brisket in terms of this map, at least. Very quiet, not being able to get off the mark, but meanwhile, Upcoming and Alliance. Again, dare I say the two teams that even in the previous map looked the most dangerous for the most part, at least in terms of the cash that they were corralling throughout. Of course, Alliance, as we said, ended up finishing third, just kind of faltering at the end at that most vital stage. But Upcoming have been a team that's looking like they've been presenting a lot of danger throughout. And I really think is a team that is going to be one to watch throughout this, because they are playing confident at the moment. As we're seeing this B point nearly captured Alliance, trying to get through actually with that capture zone. And it's getting very, very intensive as the push comes through here underneath to try and go for that steal. Does it happen?
I believe it does, it does. They actually dived it perfectly. The body block stops the damage of that repeater, shuts that down, and wow, Pulsar, they're going to be counting their blessings. They got away with that one. Major play from them. Alliance find themselves in third. Another wipe taken from Knives Hammer Brisket. We do see Vault 3 held and controlled, and very quickly move the box C from the side of Upcoming. And from the spawn so far, it looks like they've got a lot of time. They'll be fairly uncontested for this initial wave, as Knives, Hammer, Brisket have spawned in the middle of this team fight. Average Man with his RPG finds a pick on the trees, and Palmer, the last one standing from the side of Alliance, does find a tap under that box. Great glitch barrel. C4 will find some damage, but at this point, he's just trying to dodge that wipe best as possible. Carnifex can burn a coin to get back into the action here, but I don't think they will. Palmer will just try and kite a little bit further. They'll take that wipe eventually. Kirawani shuts him down with those throwing knives. And well, Vault 4 should go in the access from the sides of Knife Hammer Brisket. Unfortunately though, Pulsar have arrived perfectly in time to pull off a heist.
Yeah, the heist coming through, and Alliance were hounded there, not being allowed to get away with their lives at all. Palma desperately trying to get away, but to no avail as we reach the halfway point of this map. It is Upcoming so far in the lead, in control, but not by far. Again, Knives Hammer Brisket didn't have the best start by any means, but so far secured themselves at least into that second place with the performance so far. Again, you know, doing it where it counts, doing it in the moments where it matters most to try and secure this victory. Is again making the push now towards that C. Average Man going to send up the explosive barrel, trying to get through this point, going to try to play the capture from underneath, but is chased off the point. Is Nice Hammer Brisket continuing to try and just leverage Average Man, just trying to get up around the side, create that unique angle to get in and do the damage, throws the explosive up. And yeah, I mean, talk about wasting time here. Upcoming doing a terrific job of just dragging this one out as long as they can.
They're going to split the Brisket away as well. However, he wins his one against Silas. The Repeater is so strong in those fights and Upcoming, all down to Denari. And this is going to be a difficult one. He's going to try and dive away. The defib's good. There's going to be an Average Man back in the fray. And so try all you might to stick this. The C4, not going to work. And at this point, with the body block and your heavy back in play, the winch doesn't work. And a massive moment. Knives Hammer Brisket on the precipice is getting themselves back in the lead here as the cash box does go in their favor. Massive moment for them. That glitch goes out. The dome shield already dropped, but at this point, retreating from the side of Knives Hammer Brisket. They don't want to take this fight anymore. That defib does go off, trying to build a reset. Damage not found from that sledgehammer, and it looks like one by one they'll fall. They'll take that wipe, a blow to their money, but they find a way to get that cash box against all the odds. And speaking of this, Pulsar, team that looked a little bit flat on their opening map, found themselves in control, as it looks like it's going to be Alliance finding some pressure. They're not going to be wounded just yet. A great rotation. Carnifex tries to dive on in, finds himself in a duel, but he loses the Devil's Work. Huge play, and Pulsar going to take full advantage. Trees the last one standing, finds a pick with the Repeater, but surely he can't win this one. No way he can battle back. Speed reload is there, and the revives are out. Treason, he does get shut down eventually.
Yeah, lines now have dropped a couple of times, and again, I think what we were saying these teams need to do, they have taken on board. They really put the pressure to Alliance once they go on that offense. As soon as they see Alliance as a unit in the vicinity, they make sure to push hard, and if they drop any of the players, they hound whoever is left up to make sure that they have absolutely no room to breathe. And so far it is working a treat. Barely any cash on the board as Alliance been completely shut down. Now we'll just find themselves back on the map, but outside of the scope of play. Meanwhile, Upcoming continuing to try and dominate around this 8-point, pick up the kills, the heals coming through. I just noticed with a few players from Upcoming, I mean, and granted, we've seen it from a lot of these teams, but Upcoming seem to be gelling really well together as a unit.
They're playing perfectly in that level of cohesion right now. They're going to find a pick. Jordan's going to find two on the Average Man of Kirawani. And just like that, Knives Hammer Brisket take another wipe. Every benefit they found from their opening cash box beginning to get whittled away. But from Upcoming, they've staggered this box out perfectly. Vault 6 is now in play, now getting opened up, but I wonder, and it looks like Alliance want to make this a double dip play. They're going to go for it, and that's exactly what they do. 1 minute left in this round, and it's going to be a double dip, health and control from Upcoming. Carney takes a beating, gets shot down by Devil's Work, and he's going to be the only man down from the side of Alliance so far. Should they be able to recover him? I imagine they will be. He has time to use that coin available to him. I think they're going to just wait to get Treason and find that pickup.
They're taking their time. 50 seconds left on the board. What can they do with it? As Upcoming, as you said, trying to go for that double dip, trying to be able to steal this one at the death, but you are going to have Palma on the underneath. C4 primed and ready to send that capture site down a level, bring people down to his level and cause some damage, but being detected.
Oh no!
They know where the danger is and drop down onto the shield. How is this one gonna go? As the chase going through, Palma all of a sudden in huge trouble as the plan completely goes awry, and Upcoming surely from this position have got it.
With 20 seconds, you can't. No Goo Fortress should be enough to make this one work. No Heal Beam will be enough to save Average Man as well. Hell from upstairs, that's going to be the heavy on the side of Purs, and he'll dive in. Devil's Work gets that pick. Cash out confirmed, 8 seconds left. That is all but over. Upcoming take our #1 seed. It will be a 2nd place for Pulsar, and it will be a 3rd and 4th finish. Alliance taking that 4th place position. And you know what? Alliance were put under a little bit more pressure today here on CS Horizon. They got fought every single opportunity they could, and we see them take that 4th place position. It looks like it was just some decision making went a little bit awry, but for upcoming, huge performance from them. They get themselves a full tally of points here.
Yeah, absolutely terrific play from them. Again, as we were talking about throughout, a team that looked like they were playing with confidence, a team that was gelling so well together as a unit. I mean, what, 9 assists coming through there from Silas? Terrific plays, you know, a lot of damage throughout that combat. Whereas, again, you look at the side of Alliance, right? And, you know, they're a team where, again, we've seen them capture a couple of points at the beginning of that map 1, but you take the overall and you take how they've been overall dealing with the pressure that has been applied to them throughout the course of the proceedings so far. They have not dealt with it very well. When the pressure is being put onto them, they are dying quick. They are full dying. It is taking them a long time to get back into it, and they are finding no sense of map control. Again, left relatively uncontested in that map #1 to get a couple of points under the board, maybe find themselves a bit of a rhythm, but as you alluded to, maybe it left them cold, because since then, when they've been in those more high pressure scenarios towards the end of that map 1 and then going into a map 2, which was their pick, which puts the pressure onto them, they have so far been completely failing to deal with that pressure. And I don't think that's any fault of them, mind you. I think that's just due to the brilliance of everyone else around them. But I think it's been a real surprising thing to see that they, in this map pick, were not able to stamp more of a presence down on it.
It really felt like, I think Alliance have been very keen and comfortable with the fact that they've been left uncontested for most of their performances here in our cash out days. They've done fairly well going into their going into their 3v3s, but it always feels that this side struggles a little bit when they get put under that tremendous pressure. And Upcoming and done a fantastic job doing it. And Upcoming played perfectly. They were so well gelled together. They were able to win every fight, and they've kind of played in that golden bubble of togetherness. They never got split. They never fractured off, and they were never forced into unwinnable 1vx positions. They always kept the numbers game for them, and they controlled everything perfectly. Great job for them. And again, Upcoming, going into today's Playday, they started this group in 10th place, just above Knives Hammer Brisket. They're just below Gamblers. Again, they can make a huge surge in this mid-table with a huge performance, and they've got better and better every single week we've seen them play. As we get ready for Sol Under Construction, one of my very favorite maps indeed. And I got a question for you, Zep. Will Alliance be challenged again?
Honestly, I think they will. I think we're seeing an Alliance side that, look, at the best case scenario, they're just sort of sleeping giants getting ready to wake up when they're going to do it here. But I think worst case scenario, and albeit the more likely scenario at the moment, is that Alliance have just not been able to get their foot on that gas pedal, and these other teams have been capitalizing on that, keeping them completely shut down. And I have a feeling that is going to happen again here. Again, we're seeing Upcoming in fine form. We're seeing Nice Hammer and Brisket be able to come out with multiple moments, and then same with Pulsar, never too far behind when it comes to staying in that fight. So Alliance, they have a hard job ahead of them.
I've just realized Alliance are running a double light. Treason's gonna have that double barrel grapple hook in play. Goo, Vanish Bomb, Gateway. He's gonna try and find some damage. Doesn't get a double pump on it. He'll try to escape best he can. He'll set. No. What? Okay, well. Well, Treason, he's going to lob himself off a building quickly and going to make his team fight for that revive a little bit. Should be a plug here. What? It's a double dip on phase 1. Pulsar wiped. The Lion's going to be down the one of Carnifex now. The normal light player for this.
This is crazy. You know, I always knew coming into cast the finals that it would be crazy, but I feel like I'm watching craziness that's even more than the usual, which is really saying something. As Upcoming truly feeling themselves on that confidence level here as they, as you say, going for that double dip, sitting on that B point again. So much confidence around it. Alliance fragmented. Pulsar were wiped out completely. Have another chance and plenty of time to get back in on this one. But Upcoming, we are seeing the kills they are picking up here, left, right, and center. They have really just come into their own throughout the course of these maps as they now look to be in complete control.
doubled on phase 1, an interesting choice to say the very least, and that's going to bring every single team into the fray. Now, I was worried Alliance might be uncontested. Well, they can't be uncontested. They've got to fight for this one if they want to get anything from this. And wow, we're going to hop on board Persian. He's going to get himself locked out early. He's going to get found by Treason's double barrel. He'll get that confirmation. Treason doesn't last too long, and so Zefkor shreds him, leaving Palmer all alone. And well, average man with the hammer, he'll try and dive in. The Goo's not going to try and get him at the high ground. Missed his throat. Blueberry get himself topped up, ready for the fight. As his team all around them, they have the high ground. He can maneuver himself with that Goo gun for it. But this box is in the middle of Narnia. And with that C4, maybe might just drop it down, give an opportunity to make a play happen.
Well, if they're going to make a play, going to have to make it now. Trying to get rushed in here and get the plays through. Again, we're watching Brisket try and play that protection as well towards the point. Not much time left to go now as Upcoming are going to have to maybe make a chase down. As we're seeing Pulsar and Nice Hammer Brisket fight it amongst themselves, which Upcoming will be super happy about. Allow them to fight. Meanwhile, they'll come away with the prize pool unless anyone's able to go in and get this contest. And so far, hugely segmented. Pulsar completely wiped out. Nice Hammer Brisket only 2 left up now. Meanwhile, Upcoming get the easy cash out. Just perfect situation for them. Let the 2 other teams fight over trying to get the capture to the point where none of them are going to be left in a position to successfully capture.
Well, Upcoming as well, they were the team that made this second plug happen. They forced everyone to fight around this singular cash out, and they've been the victors for it. It was a risky play. They've put everyone in such a condensed and confined area, and no one even got close to trying to flip that cash box. Double barrel, not going to work out just yet. And I'm very curious if it will have a more successful run.
Yeah, well, you know, trying to pull out the double barrel again, the double light in terms of the types being run, certainly a bit more of a Hail Mary kind of play, but I think it's fair to say Alliance at this stage have to try and pull something different out of the bag, because what they were doing ultimately was not working for them. And I am really seeing all these teams struggle at the moment to deal with Upcoming in the way that they're playing. They are really dictating the flow of this map in terms of just, again, placing that cash outside wherever they want it and making the rest of these teams fight over getting near it, ultimately not having to do that much of the work. But in saying that, they are all weak here at this moment as Alliance are going in to try and do some damage. You just have Durrani last alive. He gets dropped, and for the first time in this map, Upcoming are fully out waiting on that respawn. Now's the chance for these other teams to do some damage.
Looks like Alliance going to try their best. They're going to sprint straight across. They're going to try and hold on the best they can towards Hospital. Actually, no. Correction. It's going to be a fight for them. And they do flip on towards Construction. So, with control of this cash box from the side of it, looks like Treason's in the middle of nowhere. Are they going to try and pivot the fight for Hospital after the steal? And they got a gateway ready for it. And I think Carney's going to try it. I think he's just going to wait for the right moment. He'll lob out the first one. Opens up that gateway. And just like that, with the pleasure of Embark's new change this map, he gets himself into cover. And, well, it will be flipped on the other side of Construction, held now by Knives Brisket, but look at this. Cardi's going to find himself one. He pokes for damage. He'll back away, not committing too much to it. Just going to try and play a patience game on the staircase, trying to get closer to the gorge of the cash box and intercept this play. Rotation to the roof from the side of Pulsar. Carney's going to wait. Attempted steal in the midst of smoke and goo. And I think Palmer will be able to stick this one. And he does. And that will put a reactionary pressure on the side of Pulsar. Can they find a way back in this one? Early damage on the Carney and Treason. They'll try and back away from this. But again, HP a disadvantage for Alliance. Only having 2 lights to work with. And no medium for that easy defib res.
Yeah, and I mean, I have to say Alliance, a very good job there of going through to be able to get that recapture. Again, the way that they just position themselves, sort of force Pulsar back a little bit and make sure they have all angles covered. Now with a chance to get back into this one, but are going to struggle as Pulsar back down on the point. I believe they get it recaptured as Alliance now once again in trouble, but trying to recapture again themselves. Maybe will have it here. It is very back and forth around the point, but a huge kill coming through means that Alliance will once again grab that C point as they try to wait this one out. Surely we'll be able to do so from here as they have full control and full lives up around the point.
Just to get themselves into this, and for Alliance, this is going to be so important for them to hold on to this one. Massive revive on the Devil's Work, but I can't imagine he's going to last too much longer. Going to dive in. Treason finds more that double arrow, palm with the BFR, and Carnifex with his trusty M11 and gets one pick. That will be a wipe on the Pulsar, and Alliance will get across that bridge nicely, and they should be able to escape with that full tally. Carnifex does get picked up by Jordan, up coming late to the party. They're just hunting now for some extra kills. Of course, every kill is going to be an added point to each team's tally. So, can they get any more from it? He spots the player on the bridge. Surely he spots the player on the bridge, right? We would have seen trees on the bridge. Guess not. Who wants a freebie?
Yeah, absolutely. Meanwhile, Jordan getting himself rotated over towards that D point. As we're seeing here on the wide view of the map where players are positioned. Alliance not too far behind over towards vault number 6, but Pulsar are going to be there with them. Going to be huge fights around to try and get this one captured. Treason up top going to try and drop down low, whereas, you know, you look at Pulsar White, they are very much sticking together, very cohesive. We've seen from Alliance a couple of times now, they rotate pretty wide from each other to try and get those off angles, whereas Pulsar, they stick together, but in this instance it doesn't work out for them as they get completely dropped. But Alliance weak themselves, the third party potentially coming in here to ruin their push, to ruin their play as Silas picks up the 2. And once again, it's upcoming, just making sure to be there at the right time, the right moment to reap the rewards of the work done by others.
Oh my, this is a problem now for side of Pulsar. They're going to be so far behind. They take that revive, and at this stage, you've only got 5k to your name. You got halfway through the cash box held by Kniveshammer Brisket. You don't have a lot of time. An average man with that goo gun, so good at making this a difficult one. They get that flip. They have control of rafters. Surely Person will get hurt at this point. They'll take that jump pad up. Great winch, great damage. Finds the BF4. He needs to find even one more. Atelco gets that damage confirmation, but this is going to be the Fortress of Goo. C4 opens it up nicely, and the window is there to try and make this deal happen. They see the C4 is primed and ready. They drop a second one. A dome shield for good measure. Well, it never actually appears, but he'll try and stick it, and he's going to find himself in the midst of chaos. Member of Carnifex actually is going to be close, just sniffing around and trying to find that out of the building drop, and just looking for the right position to make this flip happen. And I wonder, do Alliance hear the dinner bells? Massive glitch from Carney. Tries to find an impact here, and they're just going to hold on best they can. The beneficiaries of this are going to be the side of Pulsar. Actually, no, Kniveshammer Brisket, I should say.
Yeah, terrific. They actually didn't even get it in the end up, which is shocking to see. But wow, I mean, that was really intense again towards that point. So close yet so far, as the rotation is now going through over to that D point to try and get some damage done there. Need to slow down upcoming, who so far are having a relatively uncontested time on D up until now. As the rush going to come through, it's going to have to be aggressive as they try and get pushed in. Already dropped one. Durrani trying to stay alive, half health, in a little bit of trouble. But just making sure to run down as much of this clock as possible.
Tries to dive down the pit and save himself with the goo. Devil's work gets that confirmation. Average man falls, and it will be a cash box confirmation for the side of Pulsar. And they do fend off a last second dive in from the side of Upcoming. It will be one player down, and that's going to be wrapping us up nicely as Upcoming find themselves taking that #1 seed yet again. It will be Alliance in number 4. I'll have to see the scoreboard reel out to see where everything else settles it out nicely, but a difficult day in the office for Alliance so far. Upcoming taking full advantage of it, and they're going to get themselves another first place, another massive tally of points going forward, and it will be second place taken from the side of Pulsar. Kniveshammer Brisket get that that third spot, and it will unfortunately be for Alliance yet again, down in 4th. Unfortunate for the orged up team in 3rd place in our standings.
Yeah, again, got to give so much credit to Upcoming. I'm loving the way that they're playing at the moment. It's such a perfect mix of being able to play aggressive, knowing when to get in there and picking up those kills and having it work for them, but then being able to take a step back, moving away. I mean, again, as you said, at the beginning of the map, going for that double super early and having it work out a treat for them. The way that they were able to defend that point, it was almost like dance my minions with everyone else that was there. They were all fighting between each other, and they were just able to reap the rewards from it. And then, again, just keeping themselves in the mix, and then towards the end, pulling off a little early instead of having to rush to go for that double late game to try and guarantee the win. They had already done the work previous. So, hey, we're going to try and get that cap towards D. We're going to just be able to play it nice and slow over here. And again, it got a little bit mixy towards the end, went a bit all over the place, but they were able to sort of rest on their laurels of the hard work and successful plays that they had made for themselves at the beginning of the map, not having to put in all that effort to be super aggressive late on, having already benefited from that earlier on.
They get an early investment, they get themselves set up nicely, and for Upcoming, this is a huge wave of momentum for them going into this one. Again, they were 10th place at the beginning of this matchup, they're just above Kniveshammer Brisket. They can make a huge launch against teams like Pulsar in their group, who are sitting at 8th at the start of today. I have a very sneaking suspicion of Upcoming might be able to find themselves another first place seeding here. because this group right now has been cracked wide open, and I've got a worrying suspicion that right now we see Alliance are a little bit off tilter, and I have a feeling that it might take a little bit longer for them to recover. So as we get ready for our fourth matchup here, Fortune Stadium, another one of my favorites. I said that about Vegas. I've said that about Seoul. I've said it now about Fortune. Since Horizon's up on my top list as well. But for this, I am very, very curious if we'll see the hammer have effect. Last week on Wednesday, Knives Hammer Brisket had one of their best games on this map, if my memory hasn't deceived me, where the hammer of Average Man was exceptional. Can they find that success again for Pulsar? I'll ask the question as I normally do. Can they get the momentum rolling? We've seen them time and time again have, and it looks like double light yet again from Alliance.
Oh, well, you know, you gotta give a lot of credit where credit is due. You know, for up and coming, they're playing terrifically so far, looking to be able to continue that hot streak, continue to build upon. Again, they found a rhythm. How long can they keep it, and how long will they be able to stay in this rhythm before another team forces them to change that rhythm? Again, they have posed the question. They are playing in a certain fashion, but no team has found the answer against them yet to be able to make a play work to where upcoming have to change what is working for them. And I gotta say, I love how you've been saying that you have so many favorite maps that we've been seeing so far throughout this course. You just got to give credit where credit's due to the developers. I think a lot of terrific maps.
Listen, Embark's my goats for this, so they've cooked up these maps perfectly. And one thing I want to just quickly highlight on the side of Alliance is it looks like Palmer bringing out Pyro Mines, so add that to your bingo list of things you didn't expect to see in PHL this season, as they will be the first team to take that wipe. Durrani can be the last one standing from the side of upcoming as well. You're going to get Silas back in the fight, actually. And I think, actually, he was never down. That medium's going to get blocked off the staircase from that group. It's going to get opened up. The hammer needs to find its mark, but no, the shotgun, the SA-1216, just a little bit stronger. An Average Man falls. In comes the rest of his team. Great damage from Kirawani with a huge pick of damage from those throwing knives, but unfortunately not going to get that pick. They'll fall away. I don't know. They do get that totem. They get that defib, and they're back to a full fighting force.
Yeah, terrific recovery there from Nice Hammer Brisket. They were in trouble when Average Man got dropped, but being able to get in with the res and the heals quickly to be once again back to a full unit and not drop to upcoming, who have had a little bit of a shakier start than the norm. They are not as set as they were before, and this is a chance for either Pulsar or Nice Hammer Brisket to capitalize. This Alliance once again fully dropped, not being able to find themselves in any sort of position of confidence here so far, not just in this map, but in any previous, bar maybe the beginning of map number 1. It's just not been going their way. It is so far a three-way fight, which is so neck and neck, but upcoming still in the lead of it, still in control. But now the perfect chance with them a little bit outside the zone of control for another one of these teams, either Pulsar or Nice Hammer Brisket, to capitalize.
Charging through that wall. Again, this is one of the most difficult fights here by Sector 4. Just, again, this massive open area. You can try and get that control of the jump pad. They use it perfectly. And again, just posturing up here will be upcoming. And they've done this time and time again. They've done this on Vegas. They are able to just kind of sit still and hold out in those shipping containers. The RPG doesn't hit its mark, but Silas finds that damage. You're going to be waving goodbye straight away to the side, or to Brisket from Knives Hammer Brisket. Pad up, get that information. Looks like it's going to be the side of Pulsar and Alliance getting ready to fight all on this side. Pulsar going to be the defensive side. Going to be stacked up here. Double light combination from Alliance. Not a lot of HP to work with from this, but a huge amount of DPS potential. Have to dive on in. Treason going to get one with that double barrel. Silas finds the pick towards Devil's Work in the midst of this one. And Pulsar in trouble. They'll take a wipe, but in the midst of this smoke, will the steal arrive? Average Man with his hammer will go huge! Finding two! But not enough to get that steal to work in their favor yet. Is it? Yes, it will be. No! Just missing off by the finest of margins, but they still control the other cash box that's active.
My word, that was close. Again, the finest of margins indeed. Nice Hammer Brisket so close, yet so far to try and come through with the cap. Does not go their way, and now the rotations go over to B, of which they do have control. But for how long? The chase going on through to try and make life difficult. Upcoming, trying to break through, but already dropping one. Jordan's had a shaky start, been dropped a number of times now, but trying to get through with the capture. I believe they actually got it here, and maybe have knocked this one. The kill's coming through. It gets dropped down low. It's Nice Hammer Brisket trying to steal it. It's chaotic. It's all over the place, but it looks like it's going to be Upcomings who are able to steal it at the death and get themselves right back in this one.
Upcoming just take full advantage of it, and again, a very brave play Playday from Knives, Hammer, Brisket. They go straight across, they shoot to the other cash box, they take full advantage of being a massive third party. They clean up Pulsar, they clean up Alliance, they even have their own cash box, and but they couldn't convert either of them. A massive blunder leaves them stranded in third place and waiting for that respawn. And well, Alliance, they're in the kitchen. They've brought both cash boxes together, and Palmer set up pyro mines galore. They're trying to hold on in the midst of the smoke. Well, they're going to force this into a massive fight.
Yeah, well, listen, they're just saying, hey, bring the fight to us. Let us cook. We're in the kitchens. We're going to cook. You get a little 2-for-1 deal if you can get by our mines. Bring the fight. Bring the action. Again, there's defensive and there's uber defensive, but this is just a whole other thing altogether. Let's see if it pays off. I mean, surely it only lasts for so long. That kitchen quickly going to become a box of death as they just look to get themselves in, completely destroy their way through. Again, Average Man with that sledgehammer causing complete havoc and chaos as they now have that point picked up, I believe, or at least one of them, and are rotating towards these sites. Again, no nonsense in the rest of these teams. They're getting in, getting what they need, and then getting out.
I mean, at least the box is going to get opened up, not controlled from the side of Alliance just yet. Polestar is going to fire, actually, no, it's going to be Carney. Carney gets that pick towards Jordan. And at this point, you just got to wonder, like, where are we going to see upcoming in this picture? One player down, the rest of the team just kind of posturing up, and everyone is somewhat just looking for information about what is the plan so far. And they're just sitting
admiring
for the
view.
Yeah, honestly,
yeah,
it's a beautiful map. We give them both their credit. Oh,
They mustn't have liked the view that much, deciding to turn himself into a wonderful bunch of coins there. As up and coming, going to try and get themselves back into this one with a little bit of a disconnection coming through, I believe is what is the case. But nevertheless, still doing 2 players better than Alliance at this current moment in time, who are finding themselves completely wiped out. Going to a little pause here, as you know, it is looking all over the place, but dare I would say on this one, I think we are seeing the closest map yet in terms of all 3 teams who are the top teams here at the moment. No disrespect to Alliance, but all 3 of the teams that are on that top place, they are really doing equal damage to each other and finding themselves in equal footing. It is just those last few key crucial moments in those cash outs where we're seeing the difference being made.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing for me is it's always down to these last second plays. The 2 last cash boxes we saw came down to right at the margin. Upcoming took full advantage previously when we saw that double dip attempt, not double dip attempt, but the third party attempt from Knives, Hammer, Brisket. They left their own cash box. Upcoming were probably witnessing that fight and realizing, well, we've left the cash box free, we can take that. With the failed flip at the last second from Knives, Hammer, Brisket, they've opened this up nicely, and we find ourselves that as things are paused, we wait to see if we can get our player reconnected into it. I mean, you've put it perfectly, Zep. It is going to be the closest that we've seen our top 3 teams. No offense, Alliance, but you've been out of the picture a little bit here in our Group A. And they are just sitting here going, this last cash box, this last flurry of action is going to be very deciding of who's actually going to cross the finish line and get that #1 tally of points.
I gotta say, this is actually my first time seeing this pause menu on the finals, and I love it. I like that the finals forcefully makes people compete in the mannequin challenge. I have not seen that in 10 plus years. The fact we're seeing everyone stay deathly quiet, deathly still, but finally looking like we're going to be back underway as we're going to try and see who is going to be able to successfully capture the C point. I believe it is Pulsar White currently in control, but for how long is Nice, Hammer, Brisket are trying to get in and get through with this capture. But the revives coming through, I believe, upcoming now. Fully stacked on lives again, getting ready to push right back in halfway through in the C. Again, as we were saying, fully even so far between these 3 teams. Could be anyone's game.
Pulsar halfway through it at this stage, and you just gotta feel that they might be in the driving seat to hold on to it. Now over halfway from this, some early damage done for Average Man, but that's an average position for him. He's never really taking a fight at full HP because he had to dive straight in with his comically large spoon. Rafters control held by Devil's Work, and that's gonna be a huge winch. Palmer's gonna pull that straight in, but they're not gonna tap it yet. They're just gonna reposition it and maybe force some reaction. Treason finds a pick of the Brisket from that double barrel. Kirwani with his knives will get straight on the Treason. And looks like this Devil's Work caught in the middle of nowhere. He's going to be a freebie caught by that. And you got to wonder now, 1 player down, all players down from the side of Pulsar. A massive winch. That's going to get into control of upcoming. And do they have the time to make this one stick? No one's going to be close enough to challenge. Brisket finds 1. But I think this flips for upcoming, and it should do, and it will do. Upcoming, they are destined to find themselves another top finish here. They get it done here for the 3rd time on Fortune. Can they make it 4 as they get ready for Bernal? But Actually, time's not up yet.
Yeah, still a little bit of time left, enough time to get through and do some more damage for the rest of these sides. But once again, it is Upcoming who have found themselves in the driver's seat. And I gotta say that this is, for me, is why throughout this they have looked like the best team, with the greatest respect to what has been such an evenly contested series throughout. But we have Upcoming going through the perfect mix of having moments of being consistent when they need to be able to thoroughly dominate a map. But then at times where it's not going particularly well for them in that consistency department, they're able to pull it out of the bag with those big moments, right? And, you know, quickly as I'm learning and picking up the finals to watching it, we're seeing how vital those moments can be. You have to be perfect throughout if you want to keep a cash out point consistently captured. And if you are not that, then a team like Upcoming, who is able to live for those moment by moment plays, is going to be able to get in, going to be able to expose you and deal a lot of the damage late on where it matters most. So massive credit to them for the way they've been playing throughout these maps, showing the perfect mix of consistency and big moment plays.
Good defib from the side of Metallico to get his team back top of the full power. Unfortunately, that was work doesn't last too much longer. Massive pick, and well, in the middle of nowhere is going to be a free cash box from the side of Upcoming. I don't think they're going to have time to make this one, get that split to arrive. Huge damage top off from the H+ Infuser. I don't know if this will get split. Of course, that will vanish in the next couple of seconds. They're just going to try and coax this one out. Control still held from Pulsar, even from beyond the grave. And Palmer will try and pull that into cover to make this flip happen. Well, he's going to make himself a fortress, a flaming fortress of goo. Dives on, he will be that pressure. The hammer's going to be able to get one, and that's going to be Palmer off the boards. His teammate nowhere to find him. Carnifex in the middle of nowhere, and this should be a free flip from the side of Knives, Hammer, Brisket, and it will be. Control gathered from them yet again, and it looks like Upcoming find themselves in the middle of no man's land, especially Durrani. Just nowhere near his team right now, and this is the first time Upcoming have been this disjointed in a match.
Yeah, again, there's having one of those moments where it's not quite as consistent for them and they're not able to make it pay off. But again, they have those big play moments. Will they be able to make a big play moment once again? They have the time to do so. Just going to need to make it work quickly. But Jordan dropping once again. We have seen Jordan drop quite a number of times throughout this map, not been able to find the same level of consistency as before. As we are seeing now, I believe Pulsar White in and around the point, trying to get with this capture. It is chaotic all around as Alliance trying to get in here and do a bit of late damage, but going to be completely dropped with the round over. It is going to be Upcoming once again, taking that first place spot. Starting to get really consistent now throughout. They've been dominant in the majority of these maps, at least in that final scoreline, just being able to do what they need to do when it matters most.
And it's going to be 3 in a row, a consecutive flurry of victory from the side of Upcoming, and they're going to have a massive tally of points added to it. This is going to be maybe a potential for some of their highest seeding that they've had going into our Saturday best, or our Saturday games in our different format. But again, we have to talk about just Upcoming 3 in a row. They've got a huge flurry going for them, and Knives, Hammer, Brisket as well are kind of the catalyst for a lot of the action that we're seeing on this matchup. They're always making huge plays. They're always kind of going for that ballsy play. That attempted steal in the middle of a third party is a massive example of it. They didn't get fully rewarded this time, but we find ourselves in the same story where it's Pulsar and Alliance that are the sides that just haven't got themselves out of the blocks here.
Yeah, but I think you got to give credit to Pulsar as well. They've been looking like a more direct danger from time to time, right? Again, they have not been able to get through the other two. They've been, you know, I think at times clearly the better sides in terms of just getting themselves over the line and being kind of key components to those vital plays. But Pulsar have been there. They've been in and around. They've been asking the questions. They've been knocking at the door, but they've just at no point have they ever really looked like they're going to actually turn the handle and actually open that door. It's always been a pretty locked system when it comes down to that bitter end as to who's going to take the points in this particular scenario. It has usually been one of two teams, and Upcoming have been one of those teams who have been just capitalizing more than the other. And I say it's just been terrific to watch them again. And I feel like I'm repeating myself here from time to time, but it's just been that perfect cohesion of all three of them working in perfect unison together and having those moments of consistency throughout the map. But then when that's not there, going into other maps, having moments where they make those big plays, and you have points that are captured where it almost looks like they're not in the equation. It looks like it is a case of Pulsar and co, and then all of a sudden they come through when that point has just 10-20 seconds left to go. They come through with the late capture and then come through with the majority of the points, and out of nowhere find themselves back in the driver's seat.
Upcoming took full advantage of what's been given in front of them. They've had great decision making, they've had great team fights, and everything. I want to, even from Vegas, the way they were able to play confident on their defense. They were very kind of, yeah, let's give space, let's trade it, let's play for a very good kite and drop system, and they're playing a very simple, basic matchup, and the decision making is lining up for them. There's a lot of other factors. It's cash out, of course. We see chaos at every corner, but they sit there, they wait, and they take the opportunities when they're presented to them, no matter how they come and how those opportunities land on their plates. So you got to give them credit for it as they get ready to go into Bernal, our final map of this one. Group A has delivered in a way I wasn't expecting it to deliver. I thought initially, getting ready for today, Group A, gonna be Alliance's show. Not being the story, but we see a 4 map in a row for the side of upcoming.
I definitely think it's on the cards. Again, you know, going into this one, I was very much agreeing with yourself that I thought it was going to be going the way of Alliance. But we have seen upcoming, I think, just really show themselves off as a top tier team here. And, you know, having a mix of finding their hot streak in terms of their form at the moment. And as you said, they've been consistently building on it throughout the season, being able to capitalize on the opportunities that have been presented to them at this moment in time, with teams like Alliance not playing to full capacity. But then on top of that, also just, you know, fighting through and getting really down and dirty and nitty and gritty with it, like that they are really having to fight through these hard moments where it's not being handed to them. They're still working, they're still having to work for it, but work for it they are, and they're certainly capitalizing on these opportunities.
Actually, I think our production has put it in my ear as well. We actually see a normal loadout getting brought out from Alliance this time. Maybe the dabble, the experiment, the Great Alliance double light has been called off. And don't worry, I see you all in Twitch chat as well about everything that you've seen so far. So, as we get ready for this, lining up initially, it looks like it's going to be trying to control from the side of upcoming. They want to play around A. They have themselves in this apartment complex. They just want to wait for pressure to arrive to them. They're expecting this to be a normal, very first phase. Now, the issue is it hasn't been that so far, and it won't be a double, hopefully, as we do see Devil's Work get that plug from Pulsar, and they launch themselves in an early advantage. It will be Knives, Hammer, Brisket trying to dive through the alleyways here, just getting themselves in close proximity. Kirwani, the only player that has significant mobility and has snuck past the vision of Devil's Work, is going to be the most far up, and this is going to open the door for a massive gateway potential to dive the rest of the team in.
Yeah, we're seeing a huge fight now between Pulsar and Nice Hammer Brisket. Again, just trying to hold. We're seeing that 2-2 split. It does seem to be a case of upcoming and Alliance versus Pulsar and Nice Hammer Brisket. Sort of what we were seeing in map number 1, and now a bit of a course correction of the even spread across these 2 points. Again, the difference just showing how this series has evolved throughout, as we're seeing that Hammer come through, trying to cause that chaos and carnage. But Kiko getting eliminated, and Devil's Work doing the Devil's Work here at the moment, managing to stay alive as Nice Hammer Brisket get completely wiped out, and Pulsar are doing a terrific job here protecting this B point.
They'll drop it down. This is going to be Palma double deagles in effect. You got huge DPS potential. You can play on those rooftops with that control. And they're going to try and do this, and that drop's not going to work out in favor for your team, Palma, but they'll try and drop it another level. They got a goo canister ready. Blocked off by a wall of it as well. I wonder, they're going to just try and give themselves a little bit of extra cover to make something happen. They're just going to try and bait this. Smoke canister out. They'll winch it into the corner, and he'll stick this with goo and smoke in the cover. Could be a massive play from the side of Palma. He'll try and stick it. Has the HP to make it work as well. At this stage, it needs to be a perfect counter, which does not arrive. The goo keeps it in place long enough, and with the mine placed on top of it as well, and amidst of more smoke, this could be a problem. Double deagles. He'll dart back into the fog. He'll try and get scrappy with it. He'll dance. He'll dodge. He'll dive around person, but the damage is going to go all the wrong way. The mine finds one. Devil's Work slain. Brisket picks up one in the midst of this one, but everything on fire, everything burning away from that mine. But the wipe from Alliance and Pulsar means Knives, Hammer, Brisket should be full advantage, and they've masterfully pulled off a third-party heist here on Bernal.
Yeah, watch 2 teams virtually tear each other to pieces and then come in and just give the final blow and being able to capture that point. Terrific play from them, playing the time to perfection, as they will now find themselves in the lead. Meanwhile, upcoming find themselves relatively uncontested towards their point. Again, over 3/4 of the way gone towards A, looking to lock in that AK. It's looking pretty solid for them, although we are seeing the chase come through, trying to get there on time, although I think now maybe realizing that no team is going to get there on time and going to play the reset towards the middle of the map. Again, Upcoming finding themselves in the position that Alliance found themselves in map number 1, getting in the end up what ends up being a relatively free, uncontested point towards that A. You know, I originally thought Alliance were putting up a little bit of a challenge over there, but they quickly decided to move off, and Upcoming getting one of the easiest points I think they'll get throughout.
Oh, huge damage in the BFR. Talco does get that credit towards Carney. Should be another confirmation. Person finds it, and the BFR has been his tool of destruction, it feels, over these last couple of weeks. The box is going to get controlled so far by Pulsar. They'll dig that out of the rubble, and they'll take that gateway, get themselves moving in the right direction for this. And well, it will be B, there will be their target. Looks like they're going to be in close proximity to 2 teams here. Upcoming and Nicehammer Brisket just lurking around the corner. Do find ourselves diving onto a team fight. Huge damage done. Jordan from it, but Kirawani finds a massive pick of the throwing knife. A simple one-tap to it. Dives in, looks for a second one, and Silence falls. Huge wipe. Kirawani makes those throwing knives work perfectly, and it will be a huge pickup from Nicehammer Brisket. However, control of the cash box goes in favor of Pulsar.
We're seeing one of those rare moments where Upcoming have been actually taken completely off the map for the time being. Again, opening the floor up to these other 3 teams to potentially do the work, get some damage done, and maybe be able to get themselves a victory in one of these maps and not have it be a complete Upcoming blowout. But we are seeing Alliance once again trying to come through here with this capture on the D point. Nearly have it. I don't think they got it in the end up. Can't really tell. No, they didn't. So far, still under the control of Pulsar White, I believe. As, again, another steal attempt potentially coming in, or they're just keeping it protected. Again, it's all over the place, hard to tell, but the big spoon coming in clutch once again for Average Man. How many times have we seen that throughout the course of these maps where he just comes in and completely shakes up the status quo of any point?
He gets himself traded away, but the massive thing is he finds so much damage with that initial overhead swing, it's going to be difficult to not find yourself picked up. Alliance and Upcoming, the only 2 teams still standing at this stage. It looks like control of the box, though, still with favor the side of Nicehammer Brisket, with 15 seconds till they're back in the fray. This team fight's got to drag on a long way to see this side survive with this flip, and it looks like control from Upcoming should be able to get this one across the line. He dodges the pyro mine yet again, and well, the corrugated steel keeps it in play, but not for long. A massive detonation. That mine opens things up nicely, but no conversion from that damage as Carney, the last one standing from Alliance, he'll dip away from this, and control held from Upcoming. Should be a guaranteed flip or hold from them here on the D cash out, unless someone has a massive say against it.
And once again, Upcoming at the beginning of that D point were completely wiped out, nowhere to be seen. And once they see that they have to lock in, they get in, get the point locked down, and almost look to guarantee a capture here as they, again, just buy as much time as they can with this point. And it's looking like it's going to be enough unless someone gets in right here now, but looking unlikely here as they're still able to stay alive. No one dropped as of yet, continuing to play this defense, getting the cash out, once again finding themselves in the lead. And just once again, we're seeing a moment from Upcoming where it is moments. They haven't been consistently dominant throughout this map, but they make it count where they need to. Again, 6-1 and 3 in the eliminations, not having as many as they normally tend to do. But again, it's not in the finals, it's not always about the amount of the eliminations. It's about where you get them, and they've been picking them perfectly.
There's only one win condition in the finals, and that's going to be your objective. Jordan, with the end of his rifle, does pick up Palmer. The plug does go out for Alliance, but with Carney so far away, I can't imagine the primary play for Alliance was to hold on to this. They'll try and fight for it, and actually they'll get their totem back. Should be a free res, will be a free res. They'll take that defib, and Palmer back in action. They do have, are initially tapped open for box 5. They spot the players of Pulsar crossing out, and this is going to be a difficult fight out by the fountain here. Not a lot of cover to work with, and Person takes full advantage of it. With no cover to hide from that BFR, he gets picked up, and that's going to be a massive blow. They're not going to chase down. Carney gets a free res at this point, and Pulsar counting the lucky days, but Devil's work will not be lucky. The repeater finds him, and throwing that box in the middle of nowhere, and maybe opening the door for a potential double dip for the side of Alliance.
Yeah, an opportunity here to get in and do something late on for Alliance. We are seeing that B point still under the control of Upcoming. 30k potentially in the bag with this one. Pulsar nowhere to be seen off the map. Nicehammer Brisket fragmented at the moment with Average Man down. Potentially another about to go down here, maybe left to just Brisket. As we are seeing Alliance, as you said, they are kind of that underside of B. They're just kind of taking their time in and around the point, not wanting to get in on this one too late. But the pressure on now is upcoming, making sure that they're all healed and ready to go for a last-ditch defense. Nearly 3/4 of this B point gone. Now just moving through, trying to pick their moments. The tension is palpable at this section.
Just over that final 30-second mark, and you just got to feel the defense has to hold on upcoming in a good position, but you do not want to lose Jordan early. He's been leading the charge in terms of kills so far, and you want your light, you want that glitch, you want that gateway, all a very key utility for this final fight. Pulsar will try and stick this in the midst of the chaos, still surf it down, almost hold on to that steal, but the cover needs to be perfect. Diving in, it's going to be average man, a huge pick from that spoon. The barrel does not connect, but he has enough cover with his own goo to build his own fortress, getting hunted down, but can he find some massive damage in the middle of all the chaos? Finds one more. Durrani's going to fall in the midst of it, and that's going to be a perfect hold on, as we will see upcoming get across the finish line for a 4th consecutive holdout. They get it done here on Bernal.
GG's to upcoming. What a performance. Again, around that point at the end, B getting it captured, holding on and not rushing, not panicking, playing a bit wide, making sure everyone's healed, maneuvering slow, and just running that clock down as much as they possibly can. Completely dominating that final point to a T. Again, playing exactly how they needed to throughout the course of these 5 maps. Massive congratulations to them. Again, it was close at moments between these teams, but it always went the way of upcoming, and deservedly so.
I mean, you put it perfectly. They done the best with what they were given. They saw every opportunity that was presented to them. They realized, listen, things are going to get a little bit scrappy. This matchup has been very, I will use polite phrasing and say more dynamic than what we normally see, and they took full advantage for it, and I'm very happy for them. And again, I saw, and I kind of noticed this from upcoming, they've got better and better as every week has been played, and with this momentum in their sales, this could be a very good one. But that's the end of Cash Out for these teams as they look forward to where they'll be seated for our games on Saturday.
Yeah, and look, a terrific performance from them across the board. Again, what a first set of games for myself to be able to get the cast on the finals. I mean, just intense from start to finish. You never really knew which way it was going to go throughout, which again is what made it so entertaining. Again, we saw consistent wins from upcoming, but the way that they managed to go about getting those wins every single time was completely different. Sometimes it was a dominant performance. Sometimes it was coming back late on. Sometimes it was going for those early sneaky doubles, which I believe is what we saw on map 3. I think it was maybe 4. I think it was map 3 that we've seen that on. But again, finding different ways to win every time. And you put it perfectly in that they just took full advantage of whatever was presented to them, whether it was time to be dominant or whether it was time to try and sneak the victory from the underdog position. They were able to deal with whatever, get on with it, and get the job done. Such a fantastic performance.
Well, the ink is dry on the story of Group A for today. But before we go to a quick little break, of course, we have to thank one very special member of our team, and that will be our sponsor, Broxton, who has been fantastic. He has been so important, throwing money at our project to make sure these teams have something to fight for. So if you're all in chat, give a big up to our sponsor here at the finals, Broxton. Otherwise known as Cash, has been amazing to our community. And with your opportunity to give your thanks all to that, it's going to be an opportunity to sit back, relax, get yourself some drinks, as we will be going to a quick little break. When we return, it's time to dive into Group B. Don't go anywhere, this won't be long. well, Group A was full of surprises. Hopefully Group B might be not following the script, but a little bit more to how we expect to see our teams of this caliber play going into it. So, as we lock in this one, Zep, we saw chaos in Group A. I think that was maybe a trial by fire for your very first cast finals. I promise you this, we see maybe a more peaceful Group B.
Oh, well, I hope that isn't the case. I reveled in the chaos of Group A, and I want to see Group B even step it up just another level altogether. But no, I'm really excited to see, what these teams have in store for us again. I've been hearing so much about these teams and how they've been competing throughout the league. Again, been so much fun just to hear about everyone as Emerald Apes, Book, Esports, Gamblers, and Gen G. Super excited to see who comes out on top with this one. And are we going to see a similar situation to what we've seen in Group A? Or are we going to see it be a little bit more mixy in terms of who comes out on top in each map?
This is one of the most interesting groups for me, because if you look at the standings from this, of course, we have Emerald Apes down in 5th place, we got Books in 7th, we got Gamblers in 9th, and, well, Gen G down in 12th, and very, very even far away from Nice Hammer Brisket as things started off today going into it. So this is a mid to low table bracket matchup, and I'm very curious if we can finally see Gen G make that step up. Of course, they've got their spot guaranteed for the Grand Major in Stockholm, so they need to find that run of form, and they cannot keep kind of having these difficult days in the office. So get ready. It is time for Las Vegas yet again. In a very, very curious times. I don't think we're going to see the chaos. There'll be no goo. There'll be no hammers this time. Back to basics. We're going to line up initially. Bucks already looking postured up for a fight against the Gamblers. For their namesake here on Vegas, can they find that lucky jackpot? They do get the vault opened up first, but can they make that conversion? And looks like the pressure held. Going to be locked out upstairs as Bucks will open up that floor, and they have perfect vision on the opening vault.
Yep, the vault already getting to work on it. The Gamblers here, meanwhile, Bucks up top. As they have eyes, they're getting ready to launch an attack here and do some damage to get in for that capture. Meanwhile, we are seeing here Cracky try and deal with the wave of Book Esports incoming, being able to pick up one before getting absolutely decimated. Meanwhile, the Gamblers, Bola here struggling for his life, trying to get out, rotate around, wait for his team to get back into play, but not in a terrific position as he is being made weak here, and he is taken right out. Red Fox doing the damage, hopping on this A point for a quick recapture, and it's so far looking like they're going to be in control here.
Huge flip early from the side of Books, and it's going to be the perfect position for them. They want to sit in that control. The Lewis gun in play. That's going to give a little bit of extra long-range potential from the side of Moser here on the Emerald Apes. Now the box here, controlled by Gen G, out in the open. They're going to try and play for this. Now they've been very good at kiting, but one critique is maybe Gen G can play a little bit too far away, and they've left the door wide open here. It's going to be a freebie steal. What is that? No contestants out of Gen G. They're far away, not even looking at this, and that's going to give complete control now to the side of Emerald Apes. They can just sit, and now they're in the perfect defense leverage as now the fight of Gen G. They have to get forward and battle with this very difficult cash box position to make flip.
Yeah, I mean, what was actually happening there? Very unfortunate circumstance there, but Emerald Apes managing to capitalize, getting in round the back, getting that point captured, and placing themselves firmly in the driver's seat. But for how long? So far being able to manage on this defense, wiping out Book Esports, and now going to be going in for the revives. Terrific defensive play from them, where it looks like they have this point locked in, locked down, but for how long? Meanwhile, over at B, there's chaos ensuing once more, as we are seeing Gen G, Nolix rotating around the side here, just trying to get in, trying to get Mixie against a full Gambler side, barely dropping any health until now. Are they even going to be able to pick up one here? This is terrific defense here from the Gamblers, completely shutting down Gen G.
Gen G just getting completely beaten to the post here. An attempted steal for the Gamblers, and they should be able to stick this one. The body block will be perfect, and they do flip it in their favor. Gamblers lock that one out. So Emerald, the Gamblers should be guaranteed to get across this line, and will be a wipe taken to the side of Gen G. They get knocked out early, and honestly, the big thing about Gen G, they had everything under great control, and they lose that control. Krieger Blue finds or gets caught out by one, and this box in the middle of the open should go in the favor of the Gamblers here. It's going to be a flurry. Needs to finish it with his elbow. Manda falls, but unfortunately, I don't think time will be their ally, and we'll have to gateway away from that one. It's going to be a lockout. Gamblers take that plug.
Yeah, terrific play from Gamblers, and so far Gamblers and Emerald Apes finding themselves in the driver's seat in regards to this map, controlling both sides, being dominant, victorious on both. Gen G and Book Esports now going to find themselves in a position where they need to find the regain early on. Will they be able to do so? Again, plenty of time left, not just in this map, but in the collection of maps yet to come, to be able to find a bit of momentum and establish some dominance throughout. Maybe just playing the feelers here a little bit and seeing what each and every side is bringing to the table. Again, Emerald Apes perhaps capitalizing on a mistake that we've seen from Book Esports in terms of the rotational play and making sure the site is actually well protected. Meanwhile, the Gamblers just dealing with the chaos against Gen G. Plenty of time yet though for these things to shake up, but so far top two teams deservedly in control.
Mouser's done amazing with that Lewis gun so far. Nuck's gonna be able to find two, and that's gonna be the wipe from the side of Books. They're gonna get completely shut down, and again, difficult day for them. Emerald Ape's gonna get control early of this cash box, C4 placed on it, and they'll fall away from it. And again, just all the time they get themselves set up as every other team seems to get themselves in engagement. 9-3R shreds HP, and it's going to take you Joe trying to dive on. He needs to win his one, gets dropped down, and this is going to be Gen G, a very important win. Pac-Lem's going to get slain, no defib for them, and take you Joe the last one standing. He has to try and chase down one member of Gamblers here, a light v light duel, and both have the opportunity here, but shut down. Bowler finds it, and Gen G will lose out on a pure 1v1, and control still held from the Gamblers here. Actually Gen G held, but the flip should be almost guaranteed for Gamblers at this point, so they'll get that one done in the midst of it. Now the defense from Emerald Apes seems to be perfect, and this box gets pulled away. Complete control from Books, and that's going to force a massive dive-in response from the side of Emerald Apes. Maybe they might use the gateway. Two players emerge from it. Not going to be wanting to scrap with that one. Pads up. Perfect spray with that from Moss. Finds that damage. Needs to win his one up against a heavy. Does so perfectly. Manda's going to get slain. Massive a moment, but unfortunately cannot escape and regroup with the rest of the team. Caught out from it. Apes down the two players as well as Books. An opportunity to maybe reset both these sides. Diving in, that light finds one. Red Fox has been slain. Huge opportunity by Doink Rage here just to make an impact. Glitch Grenade goes out to cover his track. Massive stun on that heavy. Needs to get that confirmation though. Dives away. And he'll keep his life intact, but couldn't find the pick for it. Actually, no. Amanda drops down. The BFR leaves no prisoners.
Yeah, there's been a really intense fight. Again, we've really been seeing Gamblers versus Gen G and then Emerald Apes versus Book Esports in terms of who's been taking the consistent fights towards each other. But now we're seeing the capture get through. Manda being able to get that D point locked down. Meanwhile, I think it's that Gen G actually have the other point. Again, it was hard to tell there from that particular angle that we were viewing from, but so far it is the bottom two sides all of a sudden looking to even this one right back up, trying to get these captures through late on. However, hang on, the Apes on that D point. They are going to get this one locked down in time. The shots are coming through. Will they be enough? They won't be. The point switches. It's going to cash out. The Apes rescue that one to keep their lead.
A huge body block play. Just keep their heavy intact. The Mouser takes the full credit from it. Huge moment. On the other side of the map, Gen G confirm their box, elevating them now to 21,000 in the bank and to second place here. So you get ready for our third wave of action. Going forward, the boxes 5 and 6 are active, and it looks like, unfortunately, we got another crash going out. So a pause will be called. Everything gets frozen. Zap, gone. Action has been called. So we'll see the recovery of our player getting back in this one. So as things lay, as we go in this one, control held from Emerald Apes is... the scoreboard shaking a little bit, but that's just excitement. It wants to get back into the action.
That's how intense it is, folks. Even the UI is shaking and trembling at the prospects of what's to come. But look, we gotta say it right now, right? As I alluded to before, we went to the pause, before we reinvented the mannequin challenge. We've been seeing it very consistently throughout. It's been Gamblers and Gen G and Emerald Apes and Book Esports having their separate fights, consistently going for these points against each other. And I was going to say off the rip that between the Emerald Apes and Book Esports, it looks like it is all there for Emerald Apes. It looked like they were controlled. It looked like they were dominant. It looked like they had what it takes to capitalize against the Book side. However, going on to that next point, it was a little bit more even throughout, with Book Esports managing to get that point captured. And I just thought for a second, okay, they made a mistake the first time around, but they have enough in the locker to be able to take it to this Emerald Ape side, and we're going to be able to see what they can bring to the table. However, that late capture through from the Apes was absolutely spectacular. And as you said, coming through with the body block, just keeping protected for as long as they can to get that D point captured at the death to get that cash out. Again, it's just one of those big moments that's going to define your side throughout the course of the maps throughout the course of the proceedings. And I think we've seen that big play from Emerald Apes where it looks like they could be a favorite throughout the course of these maps. However, the Gamblers, we've been seeing terrific plays from them as well. I doubt they're too far behind, but it's been super entertaining to watch so far.
It truly has been. And of course, we can take this time as we free cam around to get everyone ready for it. Of course, it's going to be all of our esports skins for the Grand Major in 2025. Just a few weeks away in Stockholm. Many of these players will be stacked up for it. Gen G will be there, and their skin, of course, in the store. You can get Pulsar, you can get Fnatic, you can get Alliance, you can even get Team Secret. So, of course, support your favorite teams by diving onto that skin. Again, so far, you know what? I don't even want to say what skins I've bought because normally I'm an EU massive enjoyer, but I might have been a turncoat and went for North American sides for my skin selection.
Dear God, you know what? You can never buy it. If your esport has European teams, you can never buy North American skins. That's cardinal sin. Shame. For shame.
I'll take it. It's the very first time. Isn't it?
No, I can't say anything.
Anyone knows my experience in other titles. I am the world's most professional NA hater. So I decided for the finals, I might mix things up. So I'm rocking my SSG skin every single day. So we'll get ready for this one as it looks like our first cash box will be deposited from the side of Emerald Apes. They've been so good at finding themselves with this initial plug. That gives them time to, well, goo blocking Nolix there. That gives them time to set things up, get ready, and posture up for this control. It does look like the medium from the side of Emerald Apes, and that's Nuke gonna try and get that second plug. Unfortunately, just caught between the middle of a rock and a hard place, and he does get confirmed, shut down quite quickly from Gen G. Donk Rage does dive in, finds 2 picks, Buck's reduced to 1 player, Manda alone from it, and it looks like a plug happens yet again. That's gonna be huge. Emerald Apes find themselves plugging both the cash boxes here. Huge extra money for them, and they can pick and choose where they defend, but the big thing is they get themselves that plug bonus in cash.
Yeah, they have the plug bonus in cash. Emerald Apes, they do have a lot of control of this B. They're control of the cash. Again, it is a double, but we are seeing Mauser here trying to get through and keep this point captured, as now it's getting a little bit dangerous and being completely taken out here. The capture going through, I believe, for Gen G, trying to get on it, but having to rotate out rather quickly. But Nolix managing to pick up another kill here. Again, trying to keep this point contested, but it is super intensive around, as now we're seeing Book Esports rotate their way through and decimate. Now dropping down onto the point, going to go for a little bit of a capture themselves. The Emerald Apes, though, going to try and play defense.
Emerald Apes in a good position just to hold this one out. A huge pick, though, is going to be Nuke finding 2 in there. Locks them out, and Book's just going to be victimized, but Alphamos here. Huge 3-piece combo for him, and, well, they have control of both these cash boxes. It's going to be Gamblers just going to try and likely get that flip towards A, and there's no way, surely they can deny this one. So Gamblers will take full freebie for it. They take that away. They get 1k bonus from that steal. They got 18,000 waiting for them. C4 primed and ready for that drop as well, as we enter our final 45 seconds. Emerald Apes have that high ground. They'll dive in. They'll try and deny that steal. Mouser gets one with that Lewis gone. Perfectly fires. Donkridge finds a second one. And one by one, Gen G fall. They take that wipe, and that will be them out of action for majority of this final stage. So no cash box for them, as their second place in risk of draining away from them, as Gamblers hold the keys to that second place elevation.
Yeah, the Gamblers so far keeping good control, but Book Esports now on the point, going to potentially go for a late capture. Are the Apes going to be able to do anything here? Sitting on 66,000, maybe want to bag themselves just a little bit more. I traded all for a little more, said Mr. Burns, as he goes up now. Mauser's trying to get through and do the damage, but it's chaotic around the point, and it looks like the Gamblers have done enough to cash this one out and potentially guarantee them, not potentially, factually guarantee themselves that second place. What a performance from the Gamblers, but it has to be said, Emerald Apes as well. I did call it during the pause that I did think we were seeing a case of it'll be between Emerald Apes and the Gamblers as to who's going to be really bringing the heat, and so far haven't been proven wrong just yet. Those two really dominant towards the end.
Mouser amazing on that Lewis gun as well. Normally the LMG, you'd imagine, is a little bit better at range. He was confident enough to dive in for it, and well, it's actually going to be Nuke as well, and Donk Rage as well, picking up 12 and 13 respectively. Again, every single kill is 1 additional point for their tally of the Playday. So again, if you're leading the charge, you're getting your full tally from your first place and fragging out the way they have done, they're just going to keep stacking those points, and they're really trying to get themselves that #1 seed going into our games on Saturday. What a performance from them, and you just got to feel that that was Emerald Apes' game. They were in complete control. Not a single encounter happened, realistically, without their involvement. They were always there and abouts, and they were in complete control from the outset.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the way that they kind of grew into the map slowly but surely. I mean, not that they started off small, but the way they were able to rotate themselves in around the back to begin with to get that initial capture and to poise themselves in the perfect position to be able to defend against Buck Esports, who looked really relatively comfortable in how they were defending themselves, just really began to show the levels. And as you said, they were consistently picking up the kills, growing in confidence throughout, realizing that they had the ability take the fight to anyone they wanted at any point. They grew in confidence, they started to chase down more kills, found themselves successful in doing so, and it led to what was a very overall dominant performance. I mean, I didn't even realize right until the very end, once we checked out those scoreboards, just how far ahead they were in the killing department. So yes, the Gamblers, they weren't too far behind. They played well into that second place, but I think when it came to the one-on-ones, the 3-on-3s, whatever it may be, if it came directly down to the gun battles, no team stood a chance against the Apes.
They were just absolutely just kind of beaming everybody, shutting them down. And again, that play, I saw in chat that Jerry referred to as a Jimmy Whistler when you control both the splits. I kind of want that one to stick, but they managed to have that control. For that last cash box, they got double plugged, they got that benefit, and they can pick and choose where they defended. They forced teams into a massive kind of dive onto us, force a third party. They could have dipped out and went the other way. So a great game sense from them, and overall confidence and control from Emerald Apes. Can they keep that rolling as they go to Monaco? A very different style of play from these teams. Now, this is when the BFR will have a huge benefit of you can sit on these rooftops, you can sit on this high ground, and you can tap away with a huge damage output. And it looks like we'll just maybe take another step back as we pause into our HUD. This time will be a little bit more relaxed, as it looks like already, I think we've seen a pick going off. It looks like Paculum found himself in a fight, and early advantage for cash for the side of Gen G.
Yeah, finding ourselves getting into a pause relatively quickly, but I got to go back to the term. I love it. A Jimmy Whistler. I mean, that is fantastic. To be honest, that sounds like a bootleg Irish whiskey. It sounds like if you went into some hipster pub in the back arse of nowhere in Ireland and you're like, yeah, I'll have one of the Jimmy Whistlers, please. And it's like a subtle nod and a wink behind the counter. They know what you mean. They get the special bottle out. A good old Jimmy Whistler. I like that one. I also agree. I hope that one sticks. But, again, getting into the pause here early on is these teams just trying to get themselves locked in very early on. At least we'll get a sense of each other's positioning. But, yeah, I mean, not much to analyze off the rip, is there?
I am never, ever, ever going into a bar and asking for a Jimmy Whistler. I feel like we're both Irish. We know if you walked into your local and said that, I think the old fellas with the flat caps and the newspapers will be telling every single person in your local village about that one. But again, we haven't got a lot to go off as we get ready for this one. It looks like Mouser, he's getting himself back. He's back in action. So he's finally ready, and we can dive straight back into action. 3, 2, 1, and we're live. Thank you very much, Sabrina. And immediately, Mando finds one. The pause didn't slow him down in the slightest. Take It Joe gets one. Krieger Blue finds that defib. As Red Fox is back as a fray and resets it nicely. Genji wounded by one. Paculum not in the fight.
Yeah, again, just making sure that the pause just gave time, He's like, I'm gonna take this minute of being paused to just get uber locked in and get this kill nailed down. And barely were we going again. Was there a life off the board? As now we're seeing that Vault claim trying to take it towards a point early on. The Monaco map one, in my time of playing the finals, I remember playing this one quite a bit as well. One that I fairly enjoyed, I have to say, albeit how useless I was on it. But that wasn't just Monaco. That was every map I played, every single map mode I touched in this game. I quickly found that I was getting a bit too old to be playing first-person shooters to the levels that these guys are able to bring to the table, as we're now seeing these teams try to rotate over towards that A point. The Gamblers, I believe, with that initial control, maybe I'm wrong in saying that, most likely am, but trying to get that early control. Emerald Ape so far wiped off the map, having a slow start. Will they be able to get themselves back into this one?
Take It Joe with that H+ Infuser just gets the fighting force ready for Gen G again in control. Books and Gamblers hold on to this, and again, this is going to be the rooftop fights. The repeater so important from this. Paculem's going to hop on that hail beam. He's got to become a little bit of a droid for his team. Dives in, finds one pick up from it, gets an assist on the Manda. And these close quarter fights are such a scramble, but it's heavy. Nolix finds a way to get that one done. Books take a wipe, and Gen G have control, but not an opportunity to find a freebie on this flip. It looks like pressure arriving from the side of Apes. as they're going to take an opportunity here to dive on in, realizing that Books have wiped. Genji on a reset will send 2 players on the roof to have that initial control, and imagine that Genji might just dive straight into the woodlands, and they might get themselves caught out free damage. Takey Joe needs to win his one. The great damage at 9-3R should get that confirmation, and shut down by that Goo again, but it charges through it. Does get one the Nuke. Diving in will be their own light, and again, 1v1 against the other light. He'll try and support his heavy. H plus Infuser gets a huge amount of damage done, and Genji,
what a play.
Perfect. That is beautiful play on an individual base by Takey Joe. Keeps his team in this one, and Genji have an opportunity to get the control of that cash box.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is teamwork to a T. Looking after each other when it matters most now means that they're all up for however not long that may be, is already the heavy being made weak, but still alive, still in this fight as they try to chase down towards this point. It is the Apes now with that control and looking to continue to have it here as they have made multiple of the opponents weak, and just like that, and what was a nice recovery from Genji, it doesn't look like it's going to amount to much in the end up as the Apes are being able to retain the control around the point. Not long now until that A point is captured, and what was initially a wipe for them where you think maybe they're in a little bit of the danger zone, it was the perfect opportunity for the rest of these sides to capitalize, but the Apes find themselves back in control and back on top.
Apes played that perfectly, realizing that Genji and Books found themselves in a fight. One team wipe, one team finds themselves in the midst of a reset. Gamblers get a way to flip that back in their control, so it's going to be a confirmation. It will be Emerald, Apes, and the side of Gamblers get themselves across the finish line here in phase 1. Huge damage done by done to Donkrage, and he's going to fall away a little bit. And the LH1, so good at just chipping away at these ranges to get some assisted damage. No looks going to get caught out. Needs to be very careful with this jewel on the top of the cathedral. Finds it, Pakalem gets slain. And now look at this, Genji all down to Takey Joe, the lonesome light, who will try and scramble away and fall back for his team. They got 2 coins to burn, and imagine, actually, Pakalem's only got a single coin to burn. I wonder, are they going to want to commit to burning them? How much body watching will we see from the side of Emerald Apes here? LH1 chips away, huge damage invested on the side of Books. Man, the heavy already so wounded. Thankfully, has that heal beam ready from his teammate of Krieger Blue, topped up back to Fighting Force.
Yeah, the Apes just rotating out now towards this vault, and again, the map control that they're having here is just fantastic. I mean, Donkrage, again, with the LH1, just being able to pick up the kills at distance. I mean, not only is he picking up kills and being able to do damage at that distance range as well, it's giving the side a lot of information, being able to understand where the fights are happening, who they're making weak. It's just giving them that overall dominance to be able to dictate the pace of where they're going to want to rotate, and more importantly, how they will decide to rotate. They're on top, they're on control, they're getting shots into everyone, making everyone weaker, and then giving them the chances to fight among themselves. Meanwhile, they'll be the side, the only side with all 3, or well, now just 2 left alive, getting rotated to that point and continuing to maintain a level of control.
Emerald Apes have been in a fantastic position. They are just completely in control. Every time they get challenged, they're making perfect decisions around their fights. And Donkrage here, again, just postured up on this rooftop, got vision on that cathedral. Damage taken, and Genji just can't find themselves a break. Donkrage shuts him down the LH1, gets scrappy with it, but his teammates are to dive in. No revive for Takey Joe, and that's another wipe taken from the side of Genji. Massive calamity for this side, and well, it's going to be more control from the side of Emerald Apes. An attempted seal going out here. Can Books get this one stick? They do flip it in their favor. Massive pool of HP getting flowed back from the side of the H plus Infuser. Red Fox plays such a key role. That 9-3R so important. Chip and burn through that damage. No glitch available. That BF4 finds a massive crit. Fallen gonna try and hunt down even more. He's gonna be all alone from this, but the BFR can make something work if he hits his shots. Unfortunately, finds only one. Can't get any more, and that should be a guarantee holdout from the side of Books.
Yeah, Books, again, a side who have looked from time to time like they'll be able to do the damage against the Emerald Apes, not able to come through for the most part, but finally having a moment of reprieve where they may be able to capitalize on an opportunity. But for how long? Will we see Push come through quick and maybe turn this thing around? Genji getting themselves in and around the point here, going in for this capture.
Oh, big winch.
Are they going to be able to get it? I don't think they're able to get it. I think Book Esports with that winch, as you said, might be able to hang on a little bit of a time left, but surely not enough lives left to do it. Book Esports hang on.
massive winch to open up that fight. It is going to be picked up nicely. That's going to be Red Fox. It is 9-3R, shuts it down. And that's going to be a massive pickup. And another wipe bot. 3-4 wipes so far from Gen G. They're yet to get themselves out of the blocks. And we'll hop on board here with the Gamblers. They're just waiting for a reset. Fallen being slain in the midst of another fight. They're going to hear the rotation from Emerald Apes. And they're just going to get themselves postured up. Under 2 minutes left in this round. And they're left on this map. And we're just going to see, now Fallen does get himself resurrected. His teammate gets that confirmation, and Kiriki gets it. Damage done initially, and that's going to be Emerald Apes just posturing up. Unlikely damage from the LH1 on Donk Rage. Just chipping away, controlling that. And the FAMAS combination with that just does so much damage at range. Keeps everybody at arm's distance. And they've got so much control. They can project so much power from here between both these cash outs. They can make a dive for either one. It looks like Books are going to have that initial control. The box in the possession now from the side of Emerald Apes, but they're good off. They're not going to be able to find that initial plug. Haskell a long way around, shot down by Kiriki's repeater, and they're going to try and dive in this one. The Apes need to hold on best they can. Nook will get claimed by that M111, but look at this, the plug goes in favor of them. Mouser won't last too much longer, surely. He'll try, he'll dance, he'll dodge, he'll dive his way, gets a huge winch, unfortunately. He does get shut down by the melee. Kirabola finds a way to get that, but the plug money goes in favor of Apes as they reset themselves out.
Yeah, I mean, look, it has to be said, though, massively well played by the Gamblers there in the way that they were able to sort of bait the Apes in. Again, like, yes, you're going to go for this point, but you got it covered, and as soon as you get here, we're going to make life very, very difficult for you, which they did indeed. And Gen G, at the moment, surprisingly finding themselves in the lead, having a little bit of control, or excuse me, I believe it's actually Book Esports again. Forgive me, maybe I'm finding myself slightly, ever so slightly colorblind here, but Book Esports again playing terrifically so far. But again with Emerald Apes, as you say, the way that they're poised, they're never too far behind, and you can't really count them out. But one thing is for certain, we're seeing a game here that, at least in comparison to map number 1, far closer.
Far closer. Huge damage done. Takey Joe gets that credit. Krieger Blue falls. Donk Rage finds one Amanda, so split damage from both Emerald Apes and Gen G underwards Books. Looks like Red Fox the last one standing. Single point of HP to his name, and they do take that wipe, unfortunately. Gen G stacked up and surrounding both players here from the side of Emerald Apes, and looks like that initial engagement is going to be here. Pads away from safety, dodges that goo. Gen G don't go for that steal, and I believe they get that confirmation. Holding on best they can. Huge diving in with that FAMAS, finds one. Nook with a 2-piece, and Gen G falling at the seams, picked up the final piece of the puzzle. What a pickup from Donk Rage, continuing his reign of terror with that LH1, and another box in favor and now in control of Emerald Apes. Gen G trailing in 4th and out of Monaco, it feels. 10 seconds before they see the light of day. A dive bomb with the RPG in place here from Manda, but it looks like everything set in stone at this point. Great coverage held up from the side of Gamblers. High ground all in their favor. A wall of goo might not be enough to get this one, and I think a C4's on it too. Finding a 2-piece with it, a huge collapse. They'll surely find that wipe on the Books, they do. And with 7 seconds without an active steal, everything ends the way it is. And no way, Gen G find a freebie there, winched away, caught in the flames, and even a few extra kills for that BFR Titan as Emerald Apes take the top spot yet again.
Emerald Apes once again showing off why they deserve to have that top spot. And it would have been a little funny towards the end if Gen G were able to sneak that one, but of course, aside, like the Apes, we're never going to let that happen, making sure to get that one shored up, locked in, and continuing to be dominant in this series of games on the overall. Again, we're seeing not quite as dominant performance on the elimination side of things, but again, making sure to get in there with the assists, you know, clearly helping each other out, and then very little deaths in comparison to everyone else. Again, super important in the finals, being able to rotate out, realizing when a kill or series wave kills aren't going your way, getting out with your life, playing for that reset so that you're then back up and ready to go quicker than your opponent. And again, playing towards those crucial moments, similarly to what we saw from Group A from upcoming, right? That I don't think it was shall we say, it wasn't a map for them where they had as much control, as dominant of an experience as they did on map 1. Yeah. But they came through at key moments, as we've seen there towards the end, the way they rotated around the LH1, once again coming in clutch just to completely remove Gen G from the point to get in for that quick cap. Those are the defining moments. And if you're able to pull those out of the bag when you're not consistently dominating the map, that makes you a real scary team.
It does. I mean, I love the fact, again, that LH1 just got a little bit of a balance pass going into the season, and you just feel it on maps like Monaco where you have your lights, you can do that chip damage, and we saw just time and time and time again, it was down the Donk Rage. just having huge individual impact every single opportunity. And it does feel unfortunate, but I felt like Gen G were often in the sights of the side of Emerald Apes. They found themselves into continuous fights, and they never really got themselves settled going into it. We look towards our next map for this, and this is where, going into our third map, I want to see those teams that have been trailing in the bottom of the standings really being defined that way. And this has been one of the points that I've noticed, right? Of course, Gen G, a team struggling in their cash-out performances, but they've been fairly solid in 3v3s. This, as we go to Nozomi, this is where you need to see a team like this step up. And I might sound weird here, but, you know, you're orged up, you go to the major. You have to have a better showing, because you can't dodge cash-outs when you go to Stockholm.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're completely right in that, you know, you have to start showing these moments as, you know, the time for going big or going home gets closer and closer, that you need to be able to bring it to the table. You need to be able to go in for these fights with some confidence. You can't just be backing out of them when things aren't going your way. You need to be able to hold your ground. You need to be able to pick up these kills and, you know, have these moments that are close that could go either way, go your way for a change, and not finding yourself constantly in a man down or in a disadvantaged position. Eventually, you're going to have to question, why are you in that disadvantaged position? Is it the way you're timing these caps? Is it the positions that you're picking up? And how do you go about changing that to make things better? You're running out of time to figure it out.
Certainly are. The more maps they slip away, the more opportunity for points, and it's going to be, again, less BFRs. Look at Bola finding 2 picks early. Massive damage done on the other side of the map, and Emerald Apes take the initial wipe from it. And, well, Pacalem's going to take a beating. The gateway is going to be good enough to get him out of the fray. Goo Grenade's going to be perfect to get that escape ready, and it looks like Gen G should escape with that initial control. Looks like they're going to try and extend a little bit further out to find that chip damage. They will do so, just trying to find and slow down the progress of Books best they can. Pivot around. No pluggy yet from Gen G. And we do see Gamblers finding one. Gen G quickly to follow. Don't stagger things out too early for them. And they're regrouped nicely, though. Pressure arriving from Books as they look to try and challenge Gen G. First pick there. Takey Joe's gone. The light's been slain. Great winch getting found. Counter winch going to be inbound. Missed from the side. Huge as Nolik's going to fall from that one. He misses counter winch and opens the door nicely. Gen G all to the Pakalem. And he's going to get spotted. He's going to try and dive away. He's went all the way down below. And the shotgun chips away. Slows down that regen. And not a lot he can do, I can imagine. Gets slain, gets wiped, and control that box will be flipped.
Yeah, that chase was vital, not letting it up, sniffing the opportunity out and not letting it go away. But meanwhile, over at this B, the Gamblers have the point, the sledgehammer out, trying to do some damage here, moving this B site further and further away from the eyes of danger, but only for a certain amount of time, as the Gamblers once again going to jump back on top. The Apes were trying to go for the capture, not quite there yet for them. Going to need to play for a wave of kills before they'll be able to lock that one down, I think.
I love the sledgehammer getting brought in effect here. Nozomi can beat and lead yourself to these close range encounters. Huge damage done. Peeked out wide. Donk rage to the M11 this time around. Great dashing, darting, diving his way, but Bola finds a way to shut him down. The hammer gets into the fray, but unfortunately shot down. Nook's going to get one. Gets himself traded. Fallen finds that, and that's a massive pick off. There's Emerald Apes find themselves slain and wiped. And the bottom of the standings, the end here of our opening phase. Still some time to battle with. Krieger Blue gets shot down, and there's going to be Manda trying to find that revive. Actually, no. Pakalem finds it, reduced with a single block of damage as well, diving in, huge jump from the heavy, finds the damage. Can the light find a way to save it? And that's going to be another wipe. Gen G shut down, Red Fox finds 2, Pakalem Nolix slain by it, and control from Books still held.
I'm a really huge fan of how the Gamblers were able to deal against the Apes there. The Apes had found themselves on the point. They had gotten successfully rotated over. They were making it safer for the cap, yet the Gamblers were just able to keep aggressive, get jumping back down, and deal with the push of the Emerald Apes one by one. Exactly a moment that was needed to maybe slow down their momentum and shake things up a little bit at what is a vital stage here on map 3. Meanwhile, Gen G trying to get the work done here towards this point, but the Apes are in late, trying to get the white. Book Esports have it completely taken out, but nothing left on that A, and it is going to be Book Esports and the Gamblers who are finding themselves currently in the lead. The Apes were eventually able to get through with the white, but too little too late. The defense is holding out.
Just able to kite logging off it again. Yes, kills give you a bonus point, but the only win condition is that cash box, is that money. And well, the BFR just not finding the shots from Nolix, not able to connect with that damage towards the members of the Gamblers just yet. Hold up, posturing for that high control. They do tap it, they do fall away. Gateway is established from Gen G. They have a dive out option. They're just going to try and hold the advantage, play on the high ground. Looks like an initial peek out there, caught mid-reload, the worst position for that BFR to be in. You need to keep that DPS up at all costs. Finds one body shot, no crits yet to right home without. And from the side of Gamblers, they disengage, reset, and just reposture themselves up. Gateway set up, a huge attempted steal. They're going to dive straight through that Gateway. Gen.G really on the back foot here. Noah see to hit these shots, missing 2 in a row. And he's going to find himself up in no man's land, stuck in the air. Takey Joe's going to be able to find one. Pakalim's going to get that trade back. And well, back to 3v3 in the middle of this fight. Another reset for both these teams.
Yeah, another reset. And again, we're seeing things a little bit all over. It's nice to see in this one for a change. We're seeing, I think, all 4 teams really stake their claim on the map to a certain extent, you know, showing that they can do some damage at least. I can think throughout the last couple of maps, you know, with no disrespect, we were seeing really Gen.G just kind of hanging on in there. But I think at the moment we're seeing them certainly put up a little bit more of a fight, trying to prove themselves as a danger side. Going down for the chase here. The sledgehammer back out, but it's not going to do much as Gen.G down, trying to get control.
Oh, BFR Titan is, well, sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's a miss, and unfortunately most of that drum magazine for the side of Nolix was a miss indeed. Unfortunate for Gen.G, but they do find themselves in a good position, as now they have control of a cash box. Unfortunately for them, it looks like Emerald Apes are posturing up for the fight. Although Emerald Apes reduced only 2 players, Donkridge and Nuke standing, but now they get ready to hop on board here with the defense from the side of Books. Huge damage done, Krieger Blue with that FAMAS, needs to find an impact with it, just poking out, trying to get that information. The platform they're on doesn't look like it has much legs left, and it does crumble away beneath their feet. A massive pivot. They'll go straight towards a massive divide on the Nozomi, and I wonder, they do get chased down. Gamblers in pursuit. Unfortunately, they run straight into Emerald Apes. They're going to find themselves slowing down in the middle of this, and I wonder, do Gamblers realize there's a third-party opportunity just waiting around this cash box?
Needing to capitalize sooner rather than later. They have the opportunity. Book Esports just looking to keep control. Meanwhile, Emerald, they have not gotten into this map at all in comparison to what they've had before. Again, close but no cigar, but will have the chance to get in and get a cap on this point. They are just trying to keep control, trying to drag it a little bit more towards them. It is very positionally based this time around over at C. Neither team really wanting to give up the power positions, but now having to go down for the chase, is trying to hang on. It is chaos, but Emerald Apes hanging on. And the defib going to come through, meaning they are still all alive and could still potentially challenge the C, but they're going to need to go really quickly.
Flurry of mines getting brought out for these teams. Attempted steal. The body block needs to be perfect, but I don't think it will. Wait a minute! Wait a minute! The debris is perfect! The building crumbles and Emerald Apes take full advantage. They find the flip, they find the cash box, and they walk away with a nice chunk of change in their back pocket. It looks like D is all but confirmed at this point. Attempted steal. A flurry of damage here as Karaki will find 2 with his F-car. He looks to make it a 3rd. Unfortunately, his teammate Bola steals it away. And no, a last second steal from Gen.G as they continue to hold on to that 4th spot with all their might. 2 minutes remain at this stage. Control held from the Gamblers, 2nd place, followed up by Emerald Apes, and a large deficit between both these sides as well. Books and Gen.G fighting for that 3rd and 4th position, and initial control of Vault 4 held by Books, but it'll be chased down as Donkridge with a great gateway moves his team around, and it looks like they're going to walk straight in the waiting arms of Gamblers, who are already postured up and holding cash out B.
The Gamblers doing a terrific job so far, but Emerald Apes managing to capitalize on the favorite cheese of any finals players, debris over on that previous capture, managing to get that one through. Again, at the death, at the moment, the vital play that was needed, getting themselves at least in the 2nd place with the possibility of being able to steal this one towards the end. But so far the Gamblers finding themselves in the driver's seat for now. But meanwhile, it has to be said, the control is coming through from the Apes on this point. They have it locked down. Meanwhile, we are going to see the Gamblers and Gen.G over towards the other point. So potentially we are going to see the Apes try and get themselves rotated around as well. 1 minute left to go-ish in this map. Very, very neck and neck between the top 3.
Advantage initially does sit with a side of Emerald Apes. They're further through their progress at this point. Gen.G have to hold on for the duration of the remaining regulation and overtime seconds. And this is going to be a massive moment. Gen.G, they wanted to be left alone, but they're going to find themselves in the midst of a third-party bonanza. The last thing they would have wanted, as it looks like Emerald Apes will have a freebie postured up all by themselves. But hopefully, for Gen.G's sake, these teams find themselves in a massive roadblock early. But it looks like, so far, Manda on Books and the rest of the team don't want to get caught down. They want to make progress towards this. Go for cover, and a winch is ready. They pull this in. Will this be perfect? Does the wall open up? Nice nicely. No! Blocked away from it. But they clear the C4. They clear the mines. They have an opportunity to make this one work. And a vault and a dome shield might be just enough.
With the winch coming right back, it's like, no, actually, it's ours. You get away. We're pulling that right back to where we can see it. Give that back. That's my ball, they said. As they're now going to have to try and find a new way to get round and get through and get that capture. The 8-point halfway gone. 1 minute left. Going to have to try and find a way onto this point soon. Meanwhile, as he said, the Emerald Apes looking like things are going to be relatively solid for them. Not in any real trouble as they go now themselves over towards the say, potentially try and do some damage.
At this stage, Emerald Apes are looking to fish for some extra kills, maybe find a wipe at any team. They might get themselves in second place. 35 seconds remain for this one, and Gen G reduced to 2. Nolix has been wounded. He wants to hold on best he can, but Manda puts that pressure on, but it will be only a member of Emerald Apes going forward. A massive winch, but does not drop that box down just enough, and Emerald Apes, they'll find one. They pick off Gamblers, and they might just be the guardian angels of Gen G, who've had an abysmal game so far, but I like they might just be enabled. Dome shield in the midst of gas and rubble, and all this destruction. No attempted steal. Gen G dive in, and while job is done, they'll hold on. But Gen G, count your blessings and call them Emerald Apes, because they elevate you to second place in a massive chaotic fourth party way brawl for final cash box here on Nozomi.
A little bit of Mikasa Sukasa there between Gen G and Emerald Apes. Emerald Apes guaranteeing themselves the first, Gen G guaranteeing themselves the second. Both agreeing that they don't want to see the Gamblers take any more of a lead in this one, getting them shut down, having them sent down to the third place. Meanwhile, Book Esports, a side that we were seeing, you know, play relatively confident throughout the course of the series so far, not able to get themselves into this map in the same way, but again, wasn't the worst performance by them from any means. Again, I think we were just seeing a situation where Gen G were able to capitalize on the circumstances laid on, but again, we're seeing it from the Apes, a strong performance and them doing it where it counts and coming through with you know, fantastic steals at key moments.
The big thing is, in a game like this with cash out, you have to be able to take full advantage. Just in Gen G realize that if they get themselves, they get the plug, they get that control, you might find yourself where no one wants to challenge towards Emerald Apes because they've been so dominant this entire game. So they were lucky, but that is cash out. But I really want to double down on Emerald Apes. They have been so good with their map control, their ability to find picks, and just their positioning and timing. They have been so important in so many of these fights, and it looks like every single massive fight, they have a say in it. That final mess, they were the ones that dove in, that made that chaos and opened up the door for Gen G. They were always able to have an impact and always able to have complete control, and that's what I want to see from this side, and they find themselves another victory here as we get ready to dive into our next map. Don't even know if it's third or fourth at this stage. Time's flying by, but Mauser on the hammer, that's what I want to see. I was a big fan of that one coming out personally.
Yeah, it was super fun to see, and I believe, if I also am not miscounting, that it is map number 4 that we're going to be going into in Fortune, so it will be super exciting to see. Again, as you say, we're seeing the Emerald Apes dominant so far, and I think you pointed out a terrific point. The fact that they are getting involved in every single key moment that happens. It's not like they're just finding themselves in these lucky positions where they get to go and do their own thing, reap rewards, and kind of bounce in and out of the chaos and the structure of the map. They're dictating the structure. And we've seen that map number 2. We've seen it in Monaco. We've seen that LH1 kind of from that top-down position, just getting eyes on where everyone is putting bullets into everyone, constantly imposing themselves as a presence on even secondary gunfights. They're not going in necessarily third-partying all the time, but they're making sure to make the right people weak whenever they can. They're making sure to get those long-range shots so they can constantly keep themselves involved in the action, dictating the play, and getting everyone else just a little bit weaker so that they can grow stronger and stronger. It's terrific how involved they're getting. Can they make it count for themselves once again as we get into this map 4?
Well, involved early, they're going to find themselves the opening pick. Bola's going to get himself wounded critically from it, and it's going to look like Manda, just with that shotgun, trying to battle away, gets himself counter winch. He'll dive through it. He'll try and get towards the staircases. He made there with a healing beam. Unfortunately, they do lose one in the midst of it, and the staircase does not last long in the midst of this either. Gen G trying to dive into the action, and that's going to be a huge flurry of kills. Manda's going to go huge from it. Actually, they shot down Gamblers, not Gen G, in the midst of this one as well. Look at the other side of this. Manda's wounded. Emerald Apes are wounded as well, and he does get shot down. That will be a wipe from Bucks. Gamblers take full credit with that one, and Vault 2 will be opened up, and that control goes for them. H plus Infuser comes up clutch, just enough to shut down Takey Joe. That's me waving goodbye to Gen G. They take their very first wipe here on Fortune and control of Vault 1, gifted to Emerald Apes.
I mean, everyone was made
Huh?
really weak towards the end. What am I
Flame
saying? What am I
thrower
saying?
on Mouse. Right. Infinite aura has just been given. We've seen a hammer, we've seen a Lewis gun, and we've seen a flamethrower. What will be the next weapon brought out by Mouser so far? Huge pickup. I'm very anti-grav as well on the side of our heavy. Right. I am very, 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 very intrigued to see what we see Emerald Apes pull off with a flamethrower in their ranks.
Well, you know, I think it is just the case. Everyone else here today is playing checkers. Mauser's playing chess, putting new pieces on the board, even 3D chess, 4D chess, whatever you may say. He's finding the new metas as we speak. Let's see how it pays off for them as the Apes, you know. They're in the lead and potentially in the lead for the reason of Mauser just knowing to shake it up where and when. It's sometimes, I've often seen it in a lot of competitive first-person shooters, right? Sometimes going against the status quo can be a real kick in the teeth to an enemy team because you are so used to dealing with what the expected meta should be that sometimes it's just not in your playbook to deal with something else. You're like, how am I supposed to deal with this? I never trained to deal with this because no one is supposed to use this garbage, and yet they're making it work.
But not even just a flamethrower, they've got the anti-grab to work with as well. You throw this in the middle of a team fight, and I guarantee no one has seen this at a scrim or an official in a tremendously long time. The building crumbles around them, and this is the problem, right? You know you have to dive on in, but at this stage, you likely know there's a flamethrower on the side of Emerald Ape. So how do you thought process about this? And I think we're seeing that from Books, just taking these few extra seconds to formulate their plan. They're going to try and dive in from it, and I imagine C4 down below drops the cash box, will force a pivot on down, but this is good from Books. They keep themselves on the top control, but here comes Gen G out of nowhere from the top rope arriving. They'll dive in. We wave goodbye to one, though. Gen G take that very first casualty. Emerald Apes of Nook's going to be the first player to fall from them. Pakalem finds it in the midst of that one. The Farmas finds one. Donkridge going to get in the action as well. Amanda falls. Gen G sees the opportunity, but here comes the flamethrower. Good off from now and has to go the long way around. He has no easy point of access, stuck in his own anti-grav. Oh, it's a nightmare!
No.
Red Fox finds a freebie, and Gen G don't find the flip. Emerald Apes keep control, and they get the cash out even though they weren't even near it to hold on.
Mauser, the classic tale, Icarus flying too close to the sun, damaged by his own creation, and he yet still being rewarded with the capture. This is just tales of biblical proportions.
I don't even know what to think about that. Again, Gen G, they dive in, they third party. I'm very curious about how they didn't flip that cash box, because they have both entrances good off. You're up against a flamethrower. The RPG was likely on cooldown, so they should have stuck it. And maybe they just didn't have enough time. They fell off, trying to decide to reset the way from this fight. We'll hop on board here with Gamblers as they look to try and get control towards our Halto building. Flurry of dome shields going out. Massive play from that winch. Looks like the advantage is going to go all the way for Books. The P90 or Krieger Blue finds two. And Red Fox gets Bowler. Lock that one down and a wipe taken from Gamblers. The final pick finds out from that 9-3 of Red Fox. And it's going to be a huge one. Paklem with the AK does get the opening pick, finding Manda. Books not getting any rest or repeat from it. The defib doesn't quite hit its mark yet. The plug is there and held out from Books. An attempt to steal from Gen G, and they should be able to stick this as Red Fox hunted down and slain by Takey Joe. Gen G get themselves a good opportunity here to hold on to C.
Yeah, Gen G find themselves in a great position, but for how long will they be able to maintain as I'm sure the Apes are actually off to themselves over at D, having a good old time, relatively uncontested. We'll just sit here, kick our feet up, and continue to build on the lead that we've gotten so far throughout the course in these maps. But Gen G trying to survive this opportunity as Buck Esports spending a lot of time off the map. Gamblers not too long back themselves. It's been a little bit all over the place. I don't think it's been the highest quality game we've seen here by any means, as the potential capture going through there. The Gamblers find themselves with a little bit more control, chasing down Gen G, trying to wipe them off the map, and doing so successfully. The Gamblers now in control of C.
Well, a very, very quick wipe on towards Gen G. They pull the cash box out, drop it down in the middle of our courtyard, and it will be a stick. That's going to go in favor of the Gamblers. 7-1 so far by Kuriki. 6-1 from the side of Donk Rage. Well, huge individual performances from these players, and they are leading the charge for their teams both respectfully. Mauser just winning based off aura alone with a grab cube and flame. I'm still trying to recover from that pickup getting brought out.
Listen, he's a quality player, Mauser. He knows what he's doing, all right? Don't question it. Just let
I'm not
him
questioning
cook.
it.
He's
I'm
literally
enjoying
cooking.
it.
He's a flamethrower. He's cooking everyone in front of him and getting them to be a rotisserie chicken mid-air with the anti-grab.
This is so brutal. Just stuck with the grav cube, trying to reset this. They'll pat in, and our producer said, get ready for a potential lock bolt if they try and dive on in. Oh, Nolix. He's the only member of Gen G who's made it across for now. The dome shield does keep him covered. Stuck in the goo, forced off the steel, and in comes Mouser. Does not last long, though. Shredded by Tiki Joe, and Gen G have the advantage in this fight so far. Diving into the shipping container is going to be the side of Donk Rage. The last one standing now as he scoots himself upstairs, but control of that cash box goes their way, and Gen G arrived at the party just a little bit too late.
And Emerald Ape still finding themselves in the lead here. Comfortable performance once again, to say the least. As again, we're seeing from the side of Emerald Apes again. I said already, not the best quality game here across the board that we're seeing, but we're just having a case of, again, the difference maker being Emerald Apes for the most part are able to keep one player alive constantly here and there, picking at others, whereas we've seen Gamblers, Book Esports, and Gen G all be fully wiped from time to time on this map. No one's been able to have that full dominant control. Everyone has kind of taken turns of being subservient to whatever's been going on. But Emerald Apes, once again, have consistently been rising above when needs be, and doing enough to where, again, not the most flawless performance, but doing enough to get over the line, which is all that's necessary at this moment.
That's all they need to do. Just get across that finish line. All they can do. And, well, Pack 11 with that AK just trying to up close, scrap and brawl. Runs out of ammo. The goo grenade trying to mask his retreat. He's going to get topped up with HP. His light's going to be there for him. He'll just try and get himself back in the fight. Huge defib, but unfortunately he gets shot down. That's going to be a freebie for his teammate who's just get brought into the fight. Teki Joe finds some damage, but not enough to write home about. He'll escape up the stairway, and Gen G find themselves in a losing battle here. Teki Joe, the last one standing. Long time till any player gets a coin back. Two available from both members of this. And, well, minute 40 left with a little bit of overtime to work with from both these sides. Boxes held from the side of Books and Gamblers, and Gen G wounded and don't want to take this wipe, but Teki Joe dives away.
Yeah, and Gen G once again finding themselves in trouble again, not really getting any sort of footfall in this game. Again, any opportunities that they've have been ones that have kind of been supplementary to what Emerald Apes have been creating, right? They've never forcefully pushed through an opportunity themselves. Again, been there to capitalize on gifts, but never buying anything for themselves, I would say. Meanwhile, you do have Book Esports, who definitely didn't have the best run of things last map, trying to pull it back here at a performance. Gamblers struggling to keep themselves in it. Book Esports having a terrific opportunity here to give themselves a victory in the series of maps, but of course Emerald still going to be tremendously difficult to deal with. Even though they are down, they are most certainly not out. Can never count them out. I'm sure that flamethrower will be put to use again at least one more time before we see this map draw to a close. 40 seconds left. Emerald back up. They're going to be going for one final push, but the Gamblers here on A, B looking just about done. Emerald Apes surely going to make their way towards the save.
Oh, they surely will, and this is going to be a problem. They dive on into these close quarter fights with a flamethrower in tow. Huge damage done! That's going to be a nightmare. Gen G hold on to it. Teki Joe going to get huge from it. Donk Rage wants to dive in, investing on his damage found earlier. But I wonder, is Gen G ready to try and hold that defense? As it looks like the Emerald Ape's going to go for a steal. Gen G collapsed perfectly. The flamethrower tries to cook them, but they escape with their life. And it will be a hold on from Gen G as they take a wipe, but no one's there to make the steal as Gen G survive for third place, but a scrappy conclusion to map number 4. Oh my goodness, Mauser with infinite aura, but it will be the side of Books who take that number 1 seed.
What a crazy map. What a crazy map. And you know, I feel like I've been saying that at least to myself inwardly throughout a lot of these ones as the course of the day, but that one in particular, I mean, we had so many curveballs thrown in there, but it's been really nice to see Book Esports actually, take a map victory, because I feel like that they are a side more than any other that have been knocking on the door from time to time. And again, the previous map just really not having it go their way whatsoever. They weren't able to get into it at all. Again, I think because Gen G were given that opportunity, it just by default pushed them a little bit further down. But we've seen them on map 1 take the fight to Emerald. Again, they made a mistake, but they narrowly rectified the mistake and were in continuous fights against Emerald in a way in which it felt close. So it feels like you take Emerald out of the equation and you throw any other team in there. We're seeing a vastly different complexion to this series, and one of which the Bucks Esports may have benefited from a little bit more favorably. It feels like they're playing well, but just not well enough to this particular circumstance. So the fact that they're getting a little bit of that recognition to get at least one solid map where they win it under their belt, I think will do them the world of good.
Again, once you get that victory, once you get that #1 seed, you begin to feel that confidence. We saw it with upcoming in our previous group, and now for this Bucks. Again, Bucks are a team that I'm really, really fond of. They're always been there and thereabouts, a dangerous mid-table team, it feels. If you have an off day, you give them an opportunity, they can take that. Again, going into today, at the beginning of our standings, they sit in 7th place, and again, all in total, not that far away from positions like even 4th place, even, again, touching distance, well, they're not that far away where Alliance was either. So again, big results from them can flip things. We get ready for our 5th and final map here, Sis Horizon, stacking up between these. And my big question, and I'm going to even ask this for chat, what is Mouser going to bring this time? We've seen a Lewis gun, a flamethrower, we've seen everything, a sledgehammer. What will it be?
I just can't wait to see. It's going to be terrific, and I believe what we just heard, a turret and a riot shield.
Oh no! No! Oh my god! A glitch trap, a breach drill, a turret, and a goo grenade, a riot shield up for it. What are we witnessing here? I'm a fan of it, and I tell you what, the last thing you want diving towards you is this riot shield. Initially, he's the only member of Emerald Apes to not take damage so far. He's hunting down gamblers so far.
Hey, listen, Whippa, you're a Rainbow Six man, man. We know the bane that the existence of riot shields can be, how difficult it can make life. And, in all seriousness, one thing that I will give credit to Emerald Apes for doing is that anytime a team has made a push, even though they're running these things that may be slightly off kilter, especially in Mauser, it has been making life difficult of the opposition. They've had to find ways to deal with it, sometimes successfully, sometimes not so much. But this time, being able to deal with it a little bit more is maybe biting off a little bit more than they can chew early on, Emerald, as they get taken out.
Oh, I feel for them a little bit. Okay, at this stage, Emerald Apes are likely happy. They got themselves first place in 3 maps out of 5. Maybe that was their goal for today. We get first place 3 times. We're happy with our points tally. And now it's time to relax. But Mauser did bring a flamethrower last time around. So I want to see him. You know what? I want to see him go huge with this riot shield. I have an expectation of greatness. And Don Rage finds some damage early. We'll hop on board with Gen G, just scrapping away in the library, just looking for control. Going to be battling up against Book so far. PHL finds huge damage to that F-car, but not enough to get that pick. He's going to find some damage to player down below again, not enough to write home about. They're going to support their heavy. Nog's going to get topped up. BFT in the hands of him again. Huge damage done. PHL, though, not going to have the magazine capacity. Already actually to find enough crits to get that pick. He'll dive in. He'll try and collapse. He's going to get one. No, he can't. The winch is perfect. PHL going to get slain. Krieger Blue with that P90 is going to be able to find one, and that's going to be a massive moment for Gen G. A scrappy fight, but Techie Joe with his LH1 and Nolix with his BFT find a way, BFR find a way to shut things down. Nicely done from them, and they're back in this fight nicely.
Meanwhile, we're seeing Emerald Apes trying to get back into the fight themselves, bringing that B point down, going for the steal, but it'll drop yet another level as they are not in the best position to deal with this. The Gambler sitting up top, just keeping an eye ready and waiting. They're the ones that'll be happy enough to play this patient, as they'll almost box Emerald Apes in around the point, but never close enough to do any real damage. But in saying that, they are going for it now. The drop coming in, the right shield making life difficult, and the capture coming through. That shouldn't have worked, but it did.
never question the GOAT Mauser, but unfortunately, we find ourselves in a position where Emerald Apes are down the 1. Donk Rage doesn't really have the option for a reset. The goo coverage protects them from above, and this steal should be confirmed. He'll try and make a dive in, but it will get shut down. Fallen finds it with that BFR, and it will be a wipe take. Oh no, not a wipe taken from Emerald Apes. They coin in just as they lose their teammate. They find themselves one player down. The turret's being deployed with a wall of goo and a breach drill. Oh no, flashbangs might give the opportunity to find that revive. They do. He trades himself off 1 for 1. We get Donk Rage back in the middle of this one. H+ Infuser keeps heavy in this fight. Not long enough to get that kill. He's got to clutch this one up solo. He gets 1. He needs to find 1 more member of Gamblers. A light v light duel against Bola. He's lost this one before. He'll dive away. Maybe, just maybe, that turret might have an effect. But from that distance, the M11 shreds him, and that will be a wipe taken from Emerald Lips, eventually taking that wipe.
I do wonder if we've seen Emerald, as you say, they've gotten their 3 wins. Have they perhaps checked out just a little bit here? Happy with the performance now, just essentially seeing what they can do. Mauser trying to discover new metas as we speak. And, you know, dare I say it, I'm definitely not an expert, but I don't think he's found the new meta here today in this particular map. That is for sure. The Riot Shield, again, it's had its moments, but in terms of, you know, what you need from your team, that consistency as a trio, again, the final's such a team game. You're not having that contribution of that extra weapon firing up in these such intense gunfights, and it's just not going to work out for you. And you know, meanwhile, it's given the opportunity for the rest of these teams to have a moment to once again be able to capitalize on the situation presented to them. So far, the Gamblers capitalizing with the lead. Buck Esports not too far behind, but meanwhile, Gen G once again having certain moments where they're getting wipes and looking like they'll do some damage, but not bringing enough consistency or having those moments happen when it counts the most. So once again, suffering on that scoreboard, but it's a pretty intense fight between the top 2.
It very much is. Not a lot of distance between them, and you got to feel, right? Emerald Apes, they're going to be the X factor from this. They're not going to likely get that #1 position this time around. With a Riot Shield in play, you just can't really risk those close quarter fights. It's been doubled. No, it hasn't. I thought for a second it was going to be a double from Books, but no, they do not want all the attention. They lob that vault away from them. We do not want this. But that might just invite some pressure here as Gamblers. They might just wave to a freebie as they see an opportunity to flip D in their favor. 1 player, 2 players lurking down below. They get rid of that barrel. They realize, oh, the glitch might disable that, give them an opportunity to get this one to drop the work. The drop does go off, falls away, and well, not going to be a freebie for them. The other vault gets plugged in. Gen G have some control on the other side of the map.
Yeah, Gen G having a little bit of control here, as you say, trying to get themselves back into this one. Emerald Apes nowhere to be seen on that scoreboard. Meanwhile, the Gamblers trying to go in here with the steal, not getting close enough. Surely going to be in a position to try it again here. They're just waiting for the right opportunity now, dropping in. Just keeping it defended, now going for that steal. Are they going to be able to keep each other protected? You have Red Fox is going to get through at 1, trying to make life difficult, trying to keep this one held, and they may have actually done so. One more capture attempt coming in here from the Apes out of nowhere. All of a sudden, where did you guys come from? I missed this one completely. The shield coming through, giving the protection, but not enough. Is that capture going to go through? Surely not enough time from here. They don't get it. That was a lot closer than it should have been.
Apes dive in. They use the Riot Shield of Mauser for a body block attempt. Unfortunately, the damage comes from a floor above, and they were a fraction of a second away from making that one stick. Now, as we look towards Cashbox C and Gen G's control, as it's immediately the next target of the side of the Emerald Apes. They spot the player lurking up high, and up to the 9-3R. You got the damage workers from this distance, but Nolex above. Shuts down 1. Mauser gets slain, and it will be all down the Donk Rage alone. He should be able to get 1 pick here at least. Has to play careful around that BFR. He knows the player upstairs is wounded. That's me taking Joe, but it will be that LH1 who shuts him down, finds those crits, and that will be enough to get a wipe from Emerald Apes. Gen G should be able to coast away to victory and get that cash box locked out nicely, as B has been plugged from the side of the Books.
Yeah, looking all about done here. So we are going to see this B point now be a huge contestant point to defend. Buck Esports going to want to try and get themselves another victory. Again, 2 victories. You pointed it out. Once you find that momentum of getting another victory, it can really set you on your way. And you know, granted, again, maybe being afforded it a little bit by Emerald Apes, but again, take the opportunities that are presented to you. And Book Esports certainly doing that here, trying to fight for a little bit of control, but the Gamblers going in here, trying to get a little bit of a steal, but it's not really going to work out for them. Book Esports continuing to make life difficult as Emerald Apes are now in and around the danger zone as well. It's getting very congested around this point as Book Esports all of a sudden finding themselves all very weak. Some of them dead even, as a matter of fact, but somehow we're hanging on until now. Krieger, the last alive, managing to rotate out, managing to stay alive. Meanwhile, Emerald Apes actually managing to keep a lot of their health and have relative control of the point, but Gen G finding themselves with the lives here at the moment. The Gamblers down, but not out. As the Gamblers want to maybe try and get towards this point for one last push. Meanwhile, we are seeing this B point has actually been captured by the Emerald Apes, and now 3/4 of the point left to go. Could we see them come through with a little bit of a late steal here to get this one done? The push is being put down here by Bola. Just continuing to get towards this point as the Gamblers now themselves want to go for a late steal. The Emerald Apes in trouble. Everyone is kind of in trouble around this point. It has been super intensive from start to finish on this B point. This is now Book Esports trying to go through with the late capture, rip it back off the hands of the Apes. They do so, and surely going to be no more time for anyone else to get in with this capture. It went all over the place. The Gamblers are going to give it one more go here for this late capture. It would be as close as it could be, but they get it, and they're in the lead. What a point.
Huge. That is so huge for Gamblers. They open the door nicely and Buck's gonna fall away from it, but we still have time to work with, and Gen G still have the control of a box for their favor. And this is gonna be a very important fight for Gen G to win. A victory here is gonna skyrocket their standings and gonna give a massive point of tally as this floundering team needs so far. They're gonna find some early damage. Mauser with that riot shield, though, with just enough damage to keep himself in this fight. That turret's gonna get a little bit of attention drawn towards it, and maybe, just maybe, an opportunity for teams to dive on in. Gen G's gonna find one player wounded. Nox the Heavy's gonna be the first to fall from this. And look at this, though. This riot shield is going to try and dive in to cause some chaos in the middle of this close range brawling. Every team arrives to the party. The riot shield up close to personal. Gonna swing for the fences, but shut down. In comes all the pressure, and it's going to be Gen G to benefit from a huge crash in from the rest of the teams. They take second place in a very important position for them to elevate nicely up to second place for them. They get those extra points in their bank. Lovely play from them, if not a little bit gifted by the chaos at the end.
Yeah, massive congratulations there once again. Book Esports getting the victory in that, or actually the Gamblers, excuse me, taking the victory, but Gen G in that second place. And again, as you said, it's an opportunity that was afforded to them by the chaos, but that's the second map now out of these fives where they managed to get the second place from benefiting off the chaos. And I think, you know, as a team who's struggling, who's clearly as in that 4 not the best team, you have to find your workarounds. And what other workarounds do you have other than being able to take advantage of the carnage, of the chaos, being able to revel in it and secure yourself second places here and there throughout? And again, capitalizing on the fact that, you know, Emerald just were able to take their foot off the gas pedal a little bit, comfortable with how they played throughout the day. Then you were having really even battles throughout, but Gen G just towards the end were able to kind of, again, benefit and get those moments. It was the same as we seen in map number 2. Real chaos towards the end. Emerald kind of clearing out the point for them, and then being able to get in there, get that final capture, and all of a sudden find them elevated from what was almost like a far and gone 4th place to a pretty locked in 2nd place.
It really was. I mean, you got to think, though, every team collapses in. They take full advantage of it. They sit back and let the chaos do all the work for them. They survived perfectly. But tell you what, we've all survived it. That was our 5th map, and that means it was our final map here of Group B. As we get ready to wrap things up nicely, we're over halfway through this day. But I tell you what, as we get towards the end of PHL, there's one person we have to thank for this one. Of course, the player, the man giving all the prize pool for these players to fight for, Broxton. A little bit of a shout out to our sponsor here of PHL. Has done so much for our community, has done so much for these teams, and of course, the prize pool. He has put so much towards it and giving these players, these orgs, something to fight for going forward. But that is the end of Group B, Zep. It was chaos all around. Emerald Apes find themselves 3. Mauser has gained infinite aura with his choice of loadouts. And it is time to say, well, it's almost time to say it's time for a break between this one, as I have to get my breath back. I have to go to reset for this one as we look towards Group C, which contains our top 2 standing teams here in Europe. Fnatic and Secret go head to head next. Don't go anywhere. All roads lead to Group C. We have our two top dogs of Europe, Fnatic and Secret, ready to go head-to-head for this one. No top team can be ignored to get a free cash box in this one. My name's Whippet, joined by Zepp for this one. We've seen an exciting Group B, but time for the big leagues here between our two top dogs in our European standings. How are we feeling about this one?
Oh, feeling really excited. I mean, the opportunity to even cast over organizations of this stature within the finals as well. Again, it's for my first time, for those of you who maybe watched the stream don't know, my first time getting a little bit of the rounds here of the finals, and I have been thoroughly impressed and really enjoying the experience here today and getting to cast with yourself, Whippet, as well. Fellow Irishman, countryman, long time coming. It's been a really terrific experience so far. Now being topped off with this Group C with some of the largest teams that we've seen, some of the top level players, and I'm really looking forward to see what they'll be bringing to the table.
I cannot wait for this. Now, of course, we're going to Vegas for our first map for this one. As we get ready... Our production just told me, we know it's Vegas. It's a mystery. We're flying blind as we get ready for our next maps for it. But I was about to mention, I'm very curious about what our maps are looking like for this. But this group to me is so exciting. I'm gonna pull this up on my other monitor just to give you a full highlight. Everyone at home, that's Group B I'm looking at. We got Team Secret, we got Fnatic, we got Skylight and Krusty Crew. This so far has got all the makings of a tremendous cash out lobby. Skyline have been looking exceptional so far, currently sitting in 4th in our standings. Krusty Crew have been that team that have somewhat surprised everybody with their performance, getting better and better week after week. They currently sit in 6th place, so this really is a battle of that top quarter of our standings as we get ready to dive into this one. Vegas locked in. We'll figure out where we go for our next maps later on as we look at this one. I want to see Secret and Fnatic being the first two teams to have to clash against each other here.
I'm just very curious to see what's being run. I mean, again, harking back to that Group B, what Mauser was doing, treating us to a surprise each and every map with some new style, new combination of weapon that we didn't think we'd be seeing. Are we going to see anything of the likes of that from these sides, or is it going to be a little bit more towards the status quo as we enter the highest level of competitiveness here within this Group C? Is so far the Dome Shield coming out to try and provide a little bit of cover. It doesn't last very long though, as it's super intense to begin with. Fnatic trying to play or it's actually Team Secret, apologies, trying to play a bit of defense here. Fnatic though, Raymake trying to stay alive, picking up that kill. Terrific start.
The KS-23 in effect for this one, an unusual pickup yet again, but Raymake, I'm a fan of this one indeed. Again, you've got some soft destruction to go through those walls and floors without having to burn your RPG for an opening, as well as a hard-hitting weapon that's, again, hit scan for a certain distance, then becomes a projectile. And Fnatic, are you doing what I think you're about to do? Do not do this. Surely you're not going to try and dive this one in for a double dip play, as you're going to find some early damage done. Nagiri's going to get caught, and it will be a double dip. It looks like it'll be absolute chaos running out here. The parking garage will be chaos for everyone, but an attempted steal falling off. It's going to be Skyline. They don't want to stick to this one as everyone fighting this mid-level. I wonder, will Fnatic just try and dive in and clean up the rest? Mirror's going to fall to Cartones. OG is going to get one. Secret going to dive in the midst of this action as well. Gugon getting deployed, sending out some pressure, and they should be able to find this revive as Skyline get themselves reset for the rest of this team fight.
This is intense. I mean, this was a statement from Fnatic to go in here early, trying to dominate and showcase what they can do by going straight for that double stack. Is Fnatic again just trying to play their lives, just trying to stay up and, you know, be consistent, do the damage, ward these teams off. Team Secret have all 3 left alive. Fnatic only have 2 and are in a little bit of trouble, but, you know, are managing to keep their lives at least for now, although Raymake pretty close to dropping and does indeed drop. It's going to be a little bit of the staggered lives here for Fnatic, which is going to leave a chance for a cap here. I'm looking at the side of Skyline as they make the maneuver, going to go for the steal. Will they be able to grab it?
Oh, he surfs it
down another level, surfing it out though, as you say.
Oh, he gets it!
Oh, they got it!
That's a huge pickup as CrabGPT finds one. Secret is going to pick up as OG's dives in to get one. Alex finds his own. OG's going to get caught out in the midst of this one. Every team collapsing in. Advantage with Secret so far. Fnatic nowhere to be seen just yet. And I wonder, will this be their option to dive on in to find that chaos? Secret collect more chaos, but Krusty or Skyline look almost guaranteed to walk away with this one in their favor as Team Secret down the Roma. He's going to try and just keep himself in this fight. Runs into trouble. Needs to win his duel. It's going to be a difficult one. Finds a damage. Mira finds it, shuts him down, and it will be a double dip victory for Skyline and Team Secret. Wow, oh my, shaking my finger at that one. They forced that double dip.
Yeah, not the greatest start from Team Secret to do that, but hey, you take the risk. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. But making the statement early on that you are willing to go against the status quo, you were willing to take those risks. Again, if they pay off for you more than once, or even once, depending on the circumstance and what stage in the game, that can really be the difference maker. So again, just showing that none of these sides are afraid to do whatever it takes to shake things up and try and make that difference as we get ready to go again. Skyline fully capitalizing on that opportunity from Team Secret to now take this lead, but for how long will they be able to hold it, as we're seeing from a lot of these sides now already by the standard of the gunfights that we're seeing here. I mean, with the greatest respect to every other team we have seen so far today, of which we have seen great teams, but we're really seeing a whole nother level here from these sides. These are clinical moves.
Go on, OG. Oh no, OG finds 2, but the bow dives in, finds a shot and a melee. Ferris going to get that revive. Massive pickup, and this is going to be a difficult one. The bow finds 1 body shot, 1 crit. Wow, what a confirmation. Rabeke's going to get caught out from that, and Secret take a wipe. Massive disappointment there. This bow's going huge. Can't make it 2 as he gets shut down in mid-map control, as that's going to get picked up from the side of Fnatic, who get that one. Diving on in and get that pressure, and this is going to be a difficult one. Every team is so tantalizingly close to each other. Double barrel in effect here by Nagiri on the side of Fnatic. Huge damage done. Chipped away from that bow, but has to play dangerously careful. A single shot from that bow can shut down the light with the cloak in effect from his main specialization. Needs to find that damage, misses the melee. Cannot overextend with that bow versus him. Gets the assist to Feros, and Krusty crew find themselves wiped out, and control held by Fnatic in the cash out box so far. This double barrel needs to get up close and personal to find success, but OG will find even more. Shuts down the Nagiri, and Fnatic down by 1.
Fnatic really struggling here in the lives department, not been able to get themselves a lot of control around this point, in the sense of being actually able to happy with the lives that they have in their possession. Meanwhile, you know, Team Secret find themselves sort of in a similar scenario. They haven't benefited from the risks that they've taken, and now finding themselves in that 4th place with sort of no real way in as of yet. Again, around the point now are going to risk that capture perhaps, but they are very quickly going to be hounded even if they don't get it. It looks like they're going to be hounded straight away, as they haven't even got it yet. Now going to have to push in with these gunfights. Secret going to try and pick up 1, manages to get the assist at least, taking shots left, right and center, but not doing enough. Completely wiped off the map, as that is a very successful defense.
Secret are just getting no pressure or no breaks. Everyone's going to put some pressure on them again. They're the top dogs, leading by over 100 points, clear the top of our standings here in Europe by the beginning of today. Cash box is actively held by Fnatic and Skyline so far, and it looks like going to be diving in. Krusty crew find that revive. They want to try and dive in. He just goes 1 floor too high, spots the player on the stairs. Huge damage done, but a massive pickup by Mirror. Then ARN shuts down 1, and the M60 in effect, this time by CrabGPT. He's going to try and dive in at that high ground, but he's going to get pressure. Massive winch and massive damage, but not enough to keep him in this fight. He gets shut down, and the bow of Feros all alone. He's trying to do his best, but he's getting huge damage. Shut down, quick melees everywhere so far in that fight, but it will be locked down, and Skyline will confirm the hold of Cashbox C.
Skyline continuing to find themselves in the driver's seat here, keeping that lead. Meanwhile, do have Fnatic not that far behind, still having an opportunity here to do some damage, but yeah, I mean, you look at your bottom two teams here, you look at Team Secret, you look at Krusty Crew, they've not really found ways into this game. As you said, Team Secret have had sort of a number of attempts that we have been on board with where they've been around site, they've been waiting for that opportunity to engage in gunfights that gives themselves the opportunity to clear a site, and regardless whether they have a point or not, as soon as they find themselves engaged in those gunfights, they have been struggling to stay alive, they have been getting wiped out quickly and together. They've been taking the gamble of playing tight together so that they can assist each other in the gunfights, but you know, in the case of this game, at least, they've been having teams dance rings around them and just taking them out all together all at once as opposed to playing wider and safer. Again, Team Secret not been afraid to make gambles in this map, but they haven't been paying off.
Carbone just missing out there and finding enough damage to get that confirmation to Gugon, just keeping aim point alive in the middle of that fight. And it's going to be an early cash box held by Krusty Crew so far. We have 1 minute left of regulation, 9 seconds of overtime, an attempted steal here by Fnatic, or by Secret I should say. They should have that control. A wounded Krusty Crew don't have a lot to say about this, and the flip is there. They try and flank outside from the alleyway to get that damage, but it looks like Roma's going to try and chase this one down. He does walk straight into Famas and can't risk too many crits, but he gets his own pick. Cartones will be slain, and then Pharaohs with that bow have been hugely impactful, just looking to find a way back into this and have the high ground, but he's getting chipped away, and I can't imagine they'll let him live too much longer, as it will be, oh, and there it is, shut down. Carbone finds a way to lock that one out, and that's going to be Crab GPT, the last one standing for Krusty Crew. And all this control so far from Team Secret might get flipped away, as it looks like Skyline and Fnatic try to make that dive bomb in.
Yeah, they are trying to make the push now with Team Secret, you know, desperate to hold on to this and get themselves back into this one. Only 25 seconds left to go, as we're seeing the fight all around this D point now. Huge wave of gunfights coming through. One comes in from Secret to try and keep this point protected. He's got the RPG in hand, just getting ready to make anyone's life difficult who challenges around that point, trying to stay alive, trying to continue to be a nuisance, potentially looking like they'll have done enough in that aspect. And Team Secret holding on the steal, trying to come through though. Are they going to be able to keep this one protected? I think they've done enough.
Yes, they will. I think so, yeah, they have. Secret get that one across the finish line, and that's a very, very important box for them. That elevates their position in the standings oh so much, and Secret will be so thankful for it. And I wonder, as sneaky suspicion as I believe it was Skyline and Fnatic that take the victory there, so it was Skyline take that victory. I have a feeling that Fnatic wanted to make this a very difficult day of cash out for the side of Secret. Fnatic, just again, they're in second place in the standings, and I wonder, was their entire intention just to make things difficult for Secret, find them, hunt them down, get that initial pressure on, because again, you want to get that elevation in the standings. You don't want to fall behind them anymore. I think Secret done a very good job with damage mitigation after what was a very difficult opening 2 phases for them here on Vegas.
Yeah, I think you're completely right and on to something there. Again, you get to this stage of the season, you get to where they are in the leaderboard, and you're starting to play for a little bit more than what's directly in front of you in regards to the game. It starts to be about who you're making life difficult for, who you're going to be able to take advantage of, what situations are you going to be able to create for yourself. But it has to be said, you know, that Team Secret, they struggled. They did struggle to begin with. They made gambles, you know, taking a gamble if you're going to do that anywhere, you do it in Vegas, baby, but it wasn't paying off for them. But, you know, towards the end, has to be said, they made the moment count. They got in there, they got the capture. It was difficult. It didn't look super controlled, like they had complete dominance of the area, but doing what any experienced team will do is that they just make sure to do enough to hold it down. It doesn't have to be confident. It doesn't have to be dominant in a moment. It just needs to be enough. And that is what it was to guarantee themselves that second place. But you take that moment out of it, they were very, very put down in that map and rarely got any real control of a point for any length of time. So they're there to be broken. They're there to be beaten. And despite the results, I'm sure Fnatic will smell blood on this one.
I wonder, though, the big thing, Fnatic on that opening stage, they went for a double dip of the opening box, and I have a feeling that's going to massively kind of hurt them going into it. They wanted to double dip that. They wanted to force out a no chance that Secret would be left alone, that was going to force them kind of not in a position where one of the big dogs is going to get third party. They wanted to keep it nice and split, every team scrapping, and I don't think they want to go for that one yet again. So Secret dive in. OG has been so good with this. BFR so far. He's gonna get gooed away. Can't find the damage. Does hit his winch. What a shot! OG, are you kidding me? This man does not miss. He won't miss again. He eventually does. Misses 2. Oh god. I'll put a curse on you, OG. I'm sorry for that one, but what an opening from that BFR.
Yeah, I mean, talk about hitting the shots that count. My word, giving a haircut to his opponent there, it has to be said. Meanwhile, another haircut coming in from the 9-3, but not quite as effective as he gets taken out rather quickly. Team Seeker already a player down here, just trying to stay alive, playing it safe in the corner, taking shots through with that BFR. More shots coming up, trying to get the kills. The punches coming through. Team Secret are kind of getting hounded from all angles here. All that's left is Elix trying to stay alive, gonna go for the res amidst all the chaos. Will be able to get it as Fnatic has dropped all their lives completely, and Secret hold on.
Narrow margins, but Secret just get across and they have time to make that reset happen. Roma just gets revived and Skyline have control of Cashbox B, but they have one player down. The pop is good, they drop it down one more floor. I love this from Bernal. Once you get into these buildings, you get into these close quarter fights, and this flip should be good. The RPG needs to hit good, finds massive damage, and Eagles do find one shot, not enough to get that confirmation. Krusty Crew on the back foot here, and Skyline have to retake all their control. One member wounded, dancing on those stairs. The Dome Shield keeps them in this fight for a little bit longer. The Eagles do not find their mark just yet, and Aimpoint needs to get aggressive. Goo gone for a little bit of extra cover, hunts down in that shipping container, but no one's there. Gets hunted down by himself, misses a few of those critical shots with that Deagle, gets shut down by that FAMAS, and it looks like it's going to be a difficult one, and Skyline take that early wipe, and Krusty Crew might just find themselves exposed. No, it will be Secret who took a wipe, and Fnatic pivot that away in their favor. And is that a sledge coming out from Fnatic? Yes, it is. Gugon Sledge. I absolutely love this.
Coming out of left field with something a little bit more unique, a little bit more against the status quo, but one that is surely going to shake things up, as surely from this position Fnatic going to have enough to get this A point down. I mean, not too much time left to go, no one in sight. The Gugon keeping it covered. I think it's pretty safe to say that Fnatic are going to get some cash on the board with this one, as the rest of these teams would be getting over towards the other point and trying to get a bit more engaged towards actually this A. I believe they are going actually to try and go for this break here, but surely not enough time.
Time is not going to work on their favor. We're going to try and stick this through it, though. A massive dive, double heal beam, H-Bust, Infuser! They cannot make it stick. Oh my, Fnatic, oh so close to losing control. They'll pick up Skyline, they get that pick, and the defib goes off, but only in the wedding arms of Raimke's Sledgehammer. He gets that confirmation, and it will be Team Secret, Fnatic, I should say. The colors, I see the orange, and I think it's Fnatic.
Oh, I thought I was the only one. I thought I was the only one. I was like, am I an idiot? Am I an idiot? Should my brain be making this connection? No, thank God I'm all alone here.
It's psychological warfare from Team Secret going, we're not giving you your org's color. That's ours. We own that one. Tell you what, though, for Secret, they want to get themselves out of the blocks. Very difficult fight, third and fourth. Great switch. They're going to send that pad gateway combination, get control of top of the church, and just looking for information by Vault 4.
Yeah, again, you know, up high, you get so much information from this position here, just trying to figure out where people are, how they're moving, and what avenues you may take to go into that next wave of gunfights. It's a little bit of the calm before the storm, isn't it? After that first wave of captures, when you get ready going for the second, you just get a little bit of time to decide where you're going to go next, what you're going to do, and it is going to be Team Secret who pick up that vault of $15,000. Going to get that one maneuvered over towards a site to prepare for the capture. Again, Team Secret, the side who I think were nullified for a lot of that map one until the death, where they were able to find themselves taking that second place. Now want to go just a little bit further here this time around, get to that first place. But so far, it is the Krusty Crew, I believe, of all, who are in the lead, with Fnatic not too far behind. Skyline have a bit of catching up to do.
Yes, they do. Trailing so far, as we do see Team Secret get themselves that plug. They got that initial control. A lockbolt getting brought out, and OG just going to be trapped in prison, and he's going to get hunted down. He's going to find so much pressure. Fnatic want to get this pick. They want to shut down OG as quick as possible. The sledgehammer, but no! Raimke gets an elbow to the face and finally shut down. Fnatic trying to capitalize, only get one pick. The defib's going to be there, and Team Secret get wiped out as Fnatic find a way to get that. Nagiri gets that final pick onto Roma, and it will be take control from them. So it looks like Fnatic are going to be in a great position, diving on in to get that control. Krusty Crew want to hold on to this box best they can, and walking straight into a problem. The Cartones, he escapes with a blueberry in his back pocket to get that heals back, and they're chasing down players. Goo grenade, or goo canister, just gives him some cover and some seclusion from the rest of his team. The rest of the opposition dodges damage for now, and is just looking to find Skyline, who's just keeping themselves in this fight for now.
Keeping themselves in this one. Cartoons desperately trying to stay alive here, but in a little bit of trouble. Gets dropped. It's now up to Crab GPT, the last alive for the Krusty Crew. What can you do from this position? Just feels imminent at this point that you're going to get dropped, and you do. Meanwhile, you have over on the other side Fnatic still trying to keep that point locked down. Team Secret going to take a fight on over with them. Secret versus Fnatic in what is going to be a huge series of gunfights, as Secret are going to go in for the steal. Fnatic, are they really aware of it, or were they taken out of it? I don't know what the case is, but Secret getting a relatively easy recapture there.
An M26 Matter getting brought out by Nagiri. This is, again, a lot of unorthodox picks getting brought out. Going to take full advantage from it. Does get slain by the Bow of Pharaohs. And this is the BFR on the rooftop, just chipping away to find that damage. And this is just going to be a lot of poking to find that, and it's going to be a box held. Surely Secret, even though they're wiped out. No, not enough time. The Krusty Crew going to try and take full advantage of this. Can they make a steal in the midst of the goo? Diving in, it's going to be the members of Fnatic. No, Skyline trying to make a pivot here. Lovely. Can he stick it? Can he hold on? Is the cover going to be good enough? Fnatic, they're too far away for an impact. And a massive steal. Skyline take the lead.
Huge out of nowhere. Skyline, we did say they needed to pull it back, and how. Managing to take the lead from a huge capture there. A big moment when it counts, shaking things up. Now the rest of these teams are going to have to figure out how to answer back, but the big point to take from all of this is, once again, Team Secret finding themselves going towards the last wave of captures. At the very bottom, they have been nullified quite well by the rest of these three other teams. Have been doing a good job of shutting them down. Of course, particularly Fnatic finding the most benefit in being able to do so. But Secret are going to need to pull something out of the bag here to deal with this pressure that they're under, because they are finding themselves as a side who is being very targeted in regards to, you know, where they're finding themselves positioned here in this league at the moment. They're playing against teams who are looking at them in such a way where it's beyond the series of games in front of them. It's about that league table, and they're making sure to try and shut that top place down.
At the top of the mountain, you put a target on your back, and it feels like Team Secret have found that target to be a difficult one to shake in this matchup. Fnatic have been marking them for death so far. Nagiri just chasing down a pick there. Raimke does find one. Lovely from Skyline. Crew gets in the midst of that one. And we're going to see a brawl here, as it looks like Roma does find one member of Fnatic from it, as Fnatic and Secret begin to line up for a clash here. Actually, no, it's the colors keep throwing me off.
The colors again. Damn you.
I see the color, I think Fnatic. My brain is so built for it, unfortunately, because last week they had the color. That's why I think about it. But Secret do have control of that cash box, and OG, this BFR, has been so effective. He hits so many of these shots, has such an impact with this high damage, but he just might get dove here. He has to fall away from the staircase just to stay in this fight. Dome shield for reassurance. They just want to keep themselves in this fight. Massive winch, but not enough to get that damage done. And I have a feeling OG, with a reload needing to happen with only one round in the chamber, might get hunted down for sport, and he does so. Shut down. Skyline finding two. Secret all down the Elix.
Yeah, Elix desperately trying to stay alive in this position here. Doing a good job so far. But for how long is the big question. Going to come through with the revive. A massive play for Team Secret to stay in this one. 1 minute left in the game. Fnatic only have 2 up as well. Huge gunfights going down. It's Skyline once again in the lead here with another capture on the way. They have this point stolen, as Elix going to try and take out one, and does. Again, Elix has been monumental in getting Team Secret back into this point to give themselves an opportunity at A late on. They go through with the push. There is the defense coming through though from Myra, potentially going to be the difference maker, but Elix once again getting in there to make life difficult. The late capture going to come through once again from Secret, who will find themselves, at the very least, pushed up to 3rd place, giving themselves a little bit of a lifeline here at the death. Now 34,000. 2nd place, as a matter of fact, if this capture doesn't go through for the side of Fnatic, but it's looking like Fnatic will be able to get this one unless something changes.
At this point, no, it's all but confirmed. Fnatic just do not wipe at this stage and your job is done as they elevate themselves to a nice little first place position. Skyline takes seconds. Team Secret get themselves a third place here, a P3 in the final step of our podium, and Krusty Crew just falling short there. Fnatic, they really went for a different variety of weapons this time around with a hammer and an M26 Matter in play.
Yeah, I mean, shaking things up, Fnatic, and having it pay off for them this time around. Again, 9, 9, and 2, but with 8 assists coming through there from the side, from F3 on the side of Fnatic. Terrific performance across the board from Fnatic. Of course, Team Secret in the end up not too far behind, once again showing how much of a danger that they can be. But I'm sure Fnatic would have loved to see them actually fall to that 4th place in the end up. They would have loved to have seen that last-ditch effort not go their way. So still keeping themselves in it on Secret, but Fnatic definitely doing a job of trying to pull themselves back in on the overall, again, in that 2nd place, looking up the table and being like, we want to be where you are, so we're going to show that we deserve to be there, coming through with some top-tier performances.
I like this though from Fnatic. This time around, they played more into their own gameplay. Yes, they went for, I think, more unorthodox choices with a Sledge and Matter in play, but they didn't hunt down Secret. They didn't force unorthodox doubles. They kept it very much within their own win condition. We want to get our points. We want to get that #1 seed. We want to have our best position possible going into Saturday. And I think they really didn't try and manipulate the flow of the cash out game too much this time around going into it. And Secret, a massive bounce back from it. It looked to be a difficult run. They found themselves in a lot of pressure early. Those first 2 phases, they were kind of struggling to find their flow. OG, yet again, huge individual play with that BFR, massive impact with that huge damage. And Secret, I'm very kind of happy to see their adaptability under pressure. They really did find themselves kind of looking for opportunity, and they found their way back in that last second steal, got them all important cash, elevates them to 3rd, and in this position they're scrapping for every point in this group, and a great haul for them. But I want to see Team Secret get themselves on that top step of the podium by some point in these maps.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to need to do so, right? They're going to need to get themselves pushed up. They need to go that extra mile. And if there's any point in the season where you're going to decide to yourself, hey, it's time to go the extra mile, it's before you go into champs. It's before you actually end the league season, because you need to set yourself up in that fine form, right? If you're going in to the end game of the league season cold or not having played your best stuff, that can really end up doing you some psychological damage at the moment where you need to keep your head the most. So it is really going to be a case now of locking in over these last 3 maps, trying to set yourself on your best foot going forward, and remind everyone, not just in your group, but throughout the entire league, that, hey, we're 1st place and there is a reason for that. Let's remind you of that right here and now.
Well, I tell you what, this is going to be an interesting one as we see these teams. As Under Construction Soul is going to be next in play. This center part of this map gives movement rotations options for every team, and of course, the amount of cash boxes that spawn up there means we're likely to see a fight emerge at the top of our Under Construction skyscraper. Secret and Fnatic look like they spawn in close proximity yet again. It's going to be a KS-23 by Rimke yet again getting brought out. Mines this time around as well from him, and early damage done is Nagiri tries to go for an aggressive play at the top of that crane, gets shut down, then ARN finds one, and that's going to be a bit of a misstep, I think, from Fnatic early.
Yeah, Fnatic not having a great start there by any means, just not being able to avoid the shots of Skyline, who were clinical to begin with, and so far not finding themselves in great positions here. They are getting absolutely hunted down. Somehow, though, managing to pick up 1. Now the healing beam in hand, switching back quickly, eventually getting dropped though, and Skyline and Fnatic is getting mixy between the 2 of them. Secret getting themselves in the mix as well. Let us join in on a bit of that. And Elix just about managing to stay alive. Not much health left, but Elix, you know, the last few times we've been able to spectate over him, has been such an important player for Team Secret, kind of playing that outlier position consistently. Being able to pick up those kills to keep points safe was huge towards the last map, contributing towards the last point that they got, keeping his side in contention to be able to keep the points safe, which was monumental in them being able to actually keep that point. And now Fnatic are back up, Skyline are back up, everyone's alive, getting ready to go into the next wave of gunfights.
I'm really looking at this going, Fnatic's lineup right now is they have a KS-23, they got a sniper rifle on their light, and they have a they have a CL40, the bane of World Tour matches for so many, and it just feels like this is going to be an unorthodox session from the side of Fnatic. Raimke gets themselves slaughtered yet again. So much damage done by Lovely from that F-car up top. They cannot find that defib as the RPG is perfect, and a goo gun stacked up just to keep one player alive as a plug is there. Team Secret get that control. Skyline found the other one, and Fnatic take a second wipe here on Soul. Not the ideal position. A great clutch up play here by Cartoons with that heal beam. Keeps his player up in the fight, and he spots one heavy from the side of Skyline posturing up. And an extra wall of goo stacked up in combination with that dome shield. Krusty Crew might just make this one work with a body block in cover as well. A great pivot, great steal, and they have control of our construction site.
Yeah, terrific from Krusty Crew what they did there. Again, Fnatic, as you said, being dropped twice, not the start that they want. And it's up to the likes of the Krusty Crew to capitalize on starts like that. When Team Secret have been nullified and Fnatic aren't really firing in a particular map, that is your chance if you're the likes of the Krusty Crew to capitalize. And Skyline, you know, themselves not having too bad of a performance, currently finding themselves in the lead as the Krusty Crew are looking to hold on to this point. Team Secret having point of their own as well, relatively uncontested, luckily enough for them. A bit of a lifeline that you feel that they needed in this series of games so far, right? They have found themselves being hounded in every position that they have taken up, so it's nice for them to get a little bit of a free cap to get some points on the board and set themselves up
Did
in
Lovely
a
just
stronger
fall
position.
off the side of the map?
I was thinking that I saw that. I was wondering what that was, but I think a little bit of a plummet to the doom there.
What? Wait, wait, Roma, Mira, and Lovely have all just plummeted to the void. They're gone. They've decided they're done with the arena. They wanted to jump straight out of it. What? What have we just seen? I have a feeling. I've got a feeling it was maybe a reset from Mira. Lovely said he was blinded by something in the middle of all of this action. And, well, Roma, who knows? Roma's allowed to do it because Team Secret right now leading the charge. Fnatic are wiped right now. Bottom of the standings, only $732 to their name. And we already had our first phase of action all but over. Fnatic really struggling to get themselves out of the blocks here on Sol. And I'm not too surprised based on their loadout. I rock their skin as well, not just SSG, but man, this loadout this was tough to watch from Fnatic.
Yeah, look, I think they were taking a gamble this time around, trying to go a bit unorthodox, but not paying off this time around. Sometimes there is just a reason why things aren't orthodox, why they aren't the status quo, and we are seeing that reason right here. They're just not able to make it work in this map. They have no control, no map sense, no idea of where players are, and they are just getting hounded and picked apart in every gunfight. We have not seen them in a gunfight yet where they look like they've had any semblance of a chance of really establishing any sense of dominance. Raymake there now being the last alive for Fnatic as well, and struggling, just getting picked apart here. It is, I dare say that in terms of just the current wave of play, this is the most we've seen a side nullified all evening.
And I think for Fnatic, they've nullified themselves realistically going into it. Again, you can maybe make some of this work. Huge RPG finds damage. I actually believe the kill was stolen as Feros finds it. They'll pull this box in. Roma, the last one standing from Fnatic. The box just shimmies out of control. Now, he does have his head exposed. Only if our sniper of the gear, he was in spot, he might have been able to find some crit damage from this. But we see Krusty Crew. They flip it in their favor. They control that box. So a long way to go before that money's in their bank account. As we see the other side, Skyline locking that one out. They have control of it, and they're almost halfway through their timer so far. The jump pad completely clogged up with goo, burning a C4 from it, and here come Team Secret trying to make an impact. RPG ready to have that initial 100 damage blow, and that's going to be a perfect hit. The winch does not connect, but he dives on in with the SA-1216. Needs to make this one work, and does. Lovely's going to be the first one to fall. Goo, or gas cannons already, drops it down one play, clears utility as well, and the rest of the team just playing at distance, trying to chip away damage in the rest of OG and Secret.
Secret going to potentially try and get in for this capture here, although mind you, pushed off the site really quickly. Now up, I believe it's a Fnatic here who are actually going to be going for this late capture. Have the opportunity here on the side to grab it, and they do. They do have it, and just like that, a Fnatic side who have been seldom in this map at all, now all of a sudden have a chance to pull themselves back up into a relatively decent position. And what's going to have this map very even on the score on the overall between these four sides, but Fnatic are getting wiped off here, and the potential for a late capture coming through from Skyline. It will be close. Will they get it? They do! Oh my god, that was close.
Fnatic trying to dive in F3 with his own CL40, detonates himself in an act of desperation, and Skyline flip that in their favor. Krusty Crew, their box gonna get potentially flipped away by Secret, but a perfect winch stops it. And for Secret, surely don't have enough time to do this. Pharaoh's the last one standing, but that bow has just enough damage. The body block needs to be perfect, and it is! A last second steal, and Secret walk away with that one. What have we just seen? Two last second steals on both our cash boxes for our second phase as we get ready for our last set of cash boxes. Vault 6 is ready and deployed. Early damage done. We already see goodbye to one member Fnatic. Mira finds that one. Lovely gets traded away by Remke. And the Geary going to be next to fall. Only the heavy remains on Fnatic from this. And, well, I gotta wonder if they can make an impact. And I have a feeling... Oh, charging slam, sends it on up, RPG! No one's there. So, that's going to be unfortunate. He's got to retreat and reconnect with it.
That was so anticlimactic. I had a movie trailer pictured right there and just falling to a whimper. But I mean, we got to go back to those captures as well. I mean, folks, for anyone who's sitting there watching at home and you're looking, you're trying to find ways to get better at the finals, I think we've just seen a perfect lesson there for you, is that if you ever feel comfortable in a capture, don't. If you ever feel like you have it, you don't. If you ever feel like you can relax, you can't, because it is so tight. You could have done all the work, think it's there for you for the taking, but if you are not keeping it guarded every single second of the way, someone's going to be through to capitalize last minute and steal from what has been your hard work.
Oh, Roma's going to shut down Cartone, but not enough to deny that steal, and it does get flipped. Krusty Crew have control, but Roma finds himself a second. Now, we have, he's going to get a 30 full wipe. Krusty Crew versus Roma, who's been on fire with the 9-3R so far, and it will be a flip for Team Secret, stepping into our final 1 minute or so of action. Vault 6 is going to be just loose held out there, no double dip potential, then dive Fnatic. A massive winch from Team Secret to shut him down. The KS-23 can't compete at distance. The CL-40 finds one. The defib is going to be good enough for it. Has to reload his grenade launcher, chips away some damage, and that heal beam also important. In the midst of all that chaos, Elix is the only member of Team Secret to escape with his life, but Skyline sees the opportunity with a dome shield and cover. They manage to find that steal with 25 seconds. Skyline have found a heist of a century. They dive on in to cause even more chaos. The F-Core not great at these ranges, and an absolute scramble as everyone wants to try and make their millions. An attempted steal. Krusty Crew trying to make this one work. Is the goo gonna be good enough? No, it's not. Held on, and Skyline have done just enough to lock things out here on Sol. They take your #1 seed here.
Oh my god. There's the definition of chaos. What an entertaining map to watch from start to finish, with Skyline sneaking it at the death. What was an abysmal beginning for Fnatic, what looked like it was going to be a strong first place performance from Team Secret, turned out to be Skyline snatching the victory at the death, meaning Team Secret, I believe, finishing in that second place. Fnatic finishing right down at the bottom, not a position that they wanted, going for the unorthodox, which did not pay off. But can we take a little bit of a look at Roma here? 17 eliminations, 9,500 damage. That is a top tier performance.
Roma with a 17-3 performance, individually adding 17 points to his team total tally for second place. Every single fight you see Team Secret dive into, it looks like, it's going to be Roma. He finds the first, often the second, and a lot of the times, like we saw that fight against Krusty Crew on the top, he finds a three-piece combination. Roma take a bow. Perfect performance here, and Team Secret do take that second place. Skyline Crew, though, they dive in, they have a massive opportunity, and they just lock in, get that steal in the midst of a third party, and they hold on across the finish line. They take that #1 seed. Absolute chaos here in Seoul. Group C has delivered so much today.
Oh, it has been so much fun to watch. And I mean, yeah, you talk about capitalizing on an opportunity, right? You had Fnatic and Secret fighting against each other. That first and second place scrap, everyone was so intense in there, realizing who they were fighting against, the magnitude of that wave of gunfights, and then just having another team just walk on in there. You two are busy over there. Yeah, you just stay over there. We're going to get this capture. And then once they got it, they made sure to hit the defense. Everyone was so weak from their gunfights by the time they were able to turn around and start challenging Skyline on the few seconds that were left. Skyline defended it immaculately, chose the perfect time to get in there and capitalize, make that capture, sneak that first place. Terrific performance. Another wonderful map in what you've absolutely coined as. It's been immaculate watching this Group C so far.
This has been so much entertainment, and we still have even more action to go. We have Skyway and Sis Horizon still lined up as we get ready for this one. Skyway Stadium, map number 4 for this one. Do not let your eyes deceive you. See, I thought that was Monaco for a second. Okay, it's not. I saw a rooftop, and I had visions of Monaco as we get ready for this one. Now, I want to say, for Team Secret, the one thing I would love to see is if OG goes back to hitting every shot with the BFR, and Roma does another Roma classic, you could say, on this map. Team Secret might just be unstoppable in terms of the mechanics here. Now, for Fnatic, I'm very curious if their loadout has went a little bit more to the normal. Roma just continues to rampage, finding Mirror in the first couple of seconds. We were only about 10 seconds into the action, and he already gets that opening pick. Secret, a great position here. Skyline down the 1 player early. Aim point alone. He'll try and get the best out of this fight as he can. And it will be shut down. Elix and OG pop off, and that will be a massive fight early. Team Secret take a full wipe. They tap the vault as well. Skyline, the victors from a previous matchup, already slain. The hammer getting brought out this time around, and Fnatic find themselves all down to F3. He gets one. The defib should be there, and it will be there. He takes that winch in the middle of this one. Huge damage done, but the BFR shuts him down. The hammer not good enough for it either, and again, a huge 2-piece there. As it'll be Krusty Crew and Crab GPT on a single block of HP. Walks away and resets the team as Fnatic take a wipe early.
Yeah, Team Secret have really grown into this series of games, and I think a lot of that is down to Roma just being really able to start to slay out and be that difference maker, just being able to create those angles for the Secret side to get in and have a little bit more control of these points. And it's been Fnatic really suffering at the hands of that. You've noticed the more and more that Roma's been able to start to pop off is kind of coinciding with the more and more that Fnatic have been really struggling to get themselves any presence on the map. Team Secret have really grown into this one, and the overall what was a shaky start from map 1. They have dealt with the question being posed in terms of being dominated. Now Roma is the dominator, turning around, just picking up these kills left, right, and center. Now going to chase down towards that A point eventually. But man, what a strong performance from Secret to begin with.
Secret have just looked exceptional here, and they're really growing into this matchup so far. They're yet to get themselves that #1 seed, but has been a difficult one for them. Remke with that hammer just sending himself down floor after floor. He has an RPG in back pocket, but doesn't need to use it yet. And oh, from the floor below, he'll try and make that steal. He baits that C4 drop. He'll take a healthy chunk of damage from it. His teammate gets lost in the midst of this action as well. Nagiri does get one with the Matter in play yet again, and F3 does get himself an opportunity at that reset. And look at the players just down below. They'll hear that revive. He'll drop his teammate into the Lion's Den, trying to find that damage as well. Dual blades in play from Lovely. What are we seeing here in Group C? He'll dive in. He sees that heal beam. I know. He just invites the pressure in. He'll try and get that damage. The worst thing for Hammer is a couple of quick blades, and he'll be able to get that pick. Remke's shut down. Oh no, what is happening, Fnatic? This is a disaster. It will be a melee confirmation on the Lovely. What? Oh, Skyline Fnatic, you are giving my soul so much joy as Crab GPT shuts down the Giri, and it'll be a wipe as Roma dives in to put some salt in the wound. Fnatic wipe yet again.
It has to be said, Fnatic are getting wiped far too many times in these last couple of maps. That's definitely something that they need to go back to the drawing board on. I don't know what has changed in the last 2 maps in comparison to the first 2, but I feel like whatever way they've been playing, the rest of the opposition have just found a way to deal with that, and they're just making sure to gang up on them. It's almost like Skyline and Krusty Crew realize, hey, hang on a minute. Fnatic are playing in such a way to isolate Team Secret, but we also are here needing to isolate Fnatic, so have kind of changed their tune a little bit. Now we're making sure to hop on top of Fnatic as well, and Fnatic have been struggling to deal with the pressure, while in tandem Secret have been growing accustomed to the pressure that is on them in this series. They've been growing more and more confident in their ability to deal with it, particularly Roma, who is now kind of taking on the challenge of just being super aggressive in those gunfights, going in with no fear and finding himself successful in a lot of these pushes. Secret have really grown into this, whereas Fnatic, in a sense, I mean, maybe being a little bit too harsh here, but in a sense have been found out for how they've been playing.
I think they haven't made it easy for themselves either. Oh, what a winch from up top. OG gets that confirmation. A bag for disrespect as well. And he would have seen that one as Team Secret wipe Fnatic off the floor yet again. And it will be a, what, third wipe consecutively taken by Fnatic. Unfortunate day in the office for them, occupying that fourth seat at the table all the way down with $3,500 to their name. Boxing get plugged up from Krusty Crew. They got themselves that initial control. Looks like immediately though will find themselves under pressure from Skyline. Lovely wounded, gets his HP resurrected, and well, Crab GPT has been so good at that BFR so far, gets himself dropped in, and just looking for anyone fishing. Will stick a reload while he has opportunity. RPG is good when he finds some of the damage, and you don't want to really contest as a light, as a body shot bites you all the way to half. Huge damage done again, need to land those shots. Dual Blades diving in, oh no! Lovely fight to win and shut down that BFR. Cartoons detonates in the distance, and it will be Ferris with that bow to find one. He gets himself straight away by Mira, and Krusty Crew shut down, as it will be another fight going in favor of Skyline. Big RPG again, but the matter just not going to be the ideal fight to work with here. Shut down by two members of Team Secret. That's going to be a dive on in. OG with that shotgun hand, shuts down one more. F3 will be slain. And Fnatic yet again take a wide control of Box C, all for Team Secret, and Skyline in control all the way on Box D. Looks like that might be just the destiny. See how things go.
Yeah, Team Secret looking all but guaranteed to be able to take this point. And, you know, it's funny, I go back to the beginning of this series of maps where I was saying, hey, you know, Team Secret, I kind of want to see from you guys why you're first place. You know, you need to be able to dictate that. You've gotten this far. Kind of show a little bit of why you are this far and why you are in this position. And my word, have they done that right. And, you know, as you pointed out, you know, Fnatic at times, I think, have been the architects of their own downfall in this one, which has given Secret a little bit more of an opportunity to flourish in doing what they need to do. But you still got to hand it to them as we're seeing the two-wheel coming through, slicing up the opposition. Fnatic down again, as we are seeing Lovely dominating with those dual blades.
Listen, if the matchup's going to get opened up, if Fnatic going to play away from the meta, they're going to play unorthodox, why not bring it out yourself? Not a lot you can do with a BFR and a dual blade charging you down, as Lovely gets a huge piece there. Gonna be a massive pick. Roma gets one, instantly trade away though. Mira gonna be able to find that pick from the rooftop, diving on in, trying to hold that totem, not let an opportunity for that revive, maybe even trying to cascade on in. Secret gonna be one player down. If you put a second pick here, maybe you steal in effect just enough time to maybe have an impact. Goo goes out, and I think at this stage, this might be a dive bomb. Have Secret conceded? The flamethrower goes out. A flamethrower in effect here. Oh, the bounce pad launches the box out, and Fnatic or Secret should be able to walk away from this one, as it will be a fight and a skirmish in the middle of it. A flamethrower in the middle of it. It does find OG. Oh my, what is happening here on Skyway Stadium? The hammer dives in. Aim point falls. F3 gets one the Roma. Everyone wants a piece of action here in the Villa, and it will be a wipe for Skyline. Elix, the only survivor from Team Secret, and he'll scamper away to Vault 5 for to live a little bit longer.
This has been really intense in terms of where all these gunfights are happening. They all very much collapse in on each other. It is 90 miles an hour, but again, Team Secret managing to find themselves on top, always coming away with at least one alive. They've just found the rhythm that is working in this map, and they're really just playing to their strengths at the moment. Even as you said, you know, the bounce pad that was underneath that last point, just sending it outside so that they can protect it more. Everything is falling their way. Meanwhile, Fnatic have very much found themselves falling away in this map, in just in terms of the control, in terms of the presence. They are just not on the same level that they were to begin with. Meanwhile, Skyline and Krusty Crew have grown into this as well. It has been such an entertaining map to watch from start to finish, such an entertaining series of maps to watch from start to finish, and looks like it's only going to get even better.
We have a minute 30 and a little bit of change left in this one. Oh no! Mira! Trying to go for the highlight reel, but he's going to send himself to the void. Sees one member of Team Secret on the bridge. He'll shrug his shoulder going, was that a member of Skyline Crew? Bye-bye! And a wipe taken from this side. And they have 15,000 to their name. The cash boxes will get split at this stage, I'd imagine. No, maybe a potential double dip. The M3 matter. Not going to be perfect in this fight. Nagiri, so talented normally on orthodox light weapons, has been a little bit quiet so far, not getting that matter to work. Dash and a Vanish Bomb, trying to hunt for the opportunity. He spots one player down below. Actually, that's his teammate. Colors deceive me yet again. Sometimes my eyes don't work, but they're trying to make a pivot. They realize it's going to be pressure arriving. Gets one burst, gets a second burst. Can't get it done as Elix shuts him down. Everybody emerging on this final cash box with just over a minute left to work.
And Fnatic already in a bit of trouble here. Raymake, the last alive no presence whatsoever from Fnatic in this map. Last map didn't go their way. You were hoping that if you're a Fnatic fan, maybe it was just a little bit of a blip and that they would reset in this one, but no, the ill form continues. Damning from them at the moment as they have no presence whatsoever, and Skyline above them at 15,000, and the Crusty crew vying for that first place against Team Secret in a position where they could potentially take it. But huge wave of gunfights coming up now for Team Secret to try and steal that point back. Not too much left longer to go now. Just 10 seconds on B. Massive wave of gunfights.
Trying to make that one still work, but can't get it done, and that's going to be held out here as Krusty Crew. They might take a wipe, but the job is done. They will get themselves a #1 finish here. Oh my god, what have we just seen? Now, I have just noticed Twitch chat have mentioned that Nagiri might have had a tracking dart on? I'm sorry, what? What have we seen today in these lobbies? Every single option, every single way you can play, every class has been brought out. I can't even believe what we've seen, and we have one more map. We have Zis Horizon still to go here, Sepp. Well, look, what is going on?
I gotta say, it's a privilege as the first time casting over the finals for me. I really get to see the full arsenal at work in terms of each and every variation combination of weapon utility being utilized here, and very quickly learning what can work and what definitely can't work. And unfortunately, I think for the side of Fnatic, whatever they've been pulling out and trying to come up with on the drawing board, it is a case of, hey guys, you got to go right back to that drawing board because it's not working for you. These last couple of maps, it has not been going their way at all. They have not been able to find a rhythm. But meanwhile, you have Team Secret who have really found the rhythm, found the groove. And, you know, it's funny that, again, we've been seeing such a nice mix of where, you know, not everything that isn't meta is bad. You know, we've been seeing things come out that definitely aren't the meta, that are definitely out of left field. And they're really shaking up the way that these points are playing from time to time. But of course, there are those outliers where there are certain things for certain maps, depending on your playstyle, you definitely do not want to run, and we've also been seeing that come out to play as well. It's been a nice, healthy mixture, and being able to see sort of an all-rounder of how these weapons fare up against each other.
It's been, I'm such a fan of, we've even seen flamethrowers, we've seen a lot of Goose Sledge heavies getting brought out today. I'm maybe gonna question Fnatic's choices of sniper rifles and KS-23 so far. But hey, as we get ready for what is, unfortunately, our final map of Europe today, I wonder, right, chat, what have we not seen so far? What will we see, Zep? Everything I know about the finals is out the window so far. I do not know what these teams are going to cook so far. I'm hoping we don't see a turret medium in play, but who knows anymore?
Yeah, honestly, it's all up in the air at this point. I think we just got to wait and see what we will be surprised at as the players get jumped in, ready to go for, as you said, the final map in Europe today. Looking forward to getting into this one. Who's going to come out on top from this position as these teams get ready, get set and go?
Looks like it's going to be a normal lineup from Secret. They have not, I would say, indulged in the unorthodox approach so far, as it looks like a lot of pressure arriving in the other cash box. It's going to be a massive lockbolt. Goo heavy from Reimke yet again. He's going to get himself stuck in the middle of a nightmare. He hammers away down. He's diving through floor after floor, trying to keep himself in this fight. And I have a feeling if he keeps doing that, that building might not be standing by the time we get to our final phase. It can't. What? No. Double heavy sledgehammer Goo charging slam with a MGL 32. Alright, chalk it. Fnatic, you're gonna get fourth place in this one unless I see a miracle run from this one. Nagiri, what is this?
Listen, I think Fnatic may be wanting to give a little bit of a demonstration of the destruction mechanics that the finals have on offer, going for the most destructive weapons possible. Of course, not going to do them. That's not going to do them many favors, but hey, they're having fun, right?
Oh my goodness, Fnatic even bringing out that double utility of that double mobility. Got a jump pad and a zip line available on their side of F3. Who wants to get those heavies around? Hopefully, it will not be another double dip in effect so far. The opening box has been plugged by Team Secret, and I think they're going to be very thankful that they haven't found themselves in the middle of all this chaos so far. They have some pressure arriving as Krusty Crew. No, Fnatic just lucky to be knocking on the door, but wait, it wasn't a hammer, it was a spear. Oh.
A spear?
Oh my. Okay, Red Game. Okay, Fike. I might be your biggest fan now. I've already got your skin. So what can you do with this one? If it is a spear, maybe. Oh,
Listen, I'm throwing on a left field here, okay? I'm very much shooting in the dark here when it comes to who's using what at this stage. I'm new to this, and it feels like we're seeing a couple outliers here. I don't know what to say. I don't know.
okay, no,
Like,
okay, it is a sledgehammer.
crazy.
Okay, oh, I got worried. I saw the skin and I thought it was a spear. Thank goodness. It's gonna be. The bow shot misses. Oh goodness, Pharaohs have been so actually effective on this again, just maining and on the unorthodox pick for the light, having a massive effect so far. Gonna make up a castle of goo, just securing his position, securing up down below as well. Goo gun just having such an effect, being so prominent in today's matchups. Damage done early, chipping away. Mirror's not gonna be able to get that full confirmation, a full complement of damage. He'll dive around, unfortunately gooed away, so he can't get a teammate back to full HP. He'll goo himself up as well, only working on this small ventilation hole to get himself in and out.
It's been very fascinating to see the way that the series of maps has devolved. No, evolved. No, I'm going back at devolved. We were witnessing some of the highest class of the finals at the beginning of this. We were saying what a series it's ended up being in the last, I want to say, 2.5 maps on the overall that we have seen in terms of the weapons that are being pulled out, the plays that are being made. It has been such a turn out of left field in terms of why people are doing what they're doing. I mean, look, maybe just having fun, maybe shooting their shot outside of the box just a little bit here, but it's definitely changed the complexion of the series, that's for sure. As you know, we do have Team Secret. They are trying to hold on to this Vault Tier 3 to get that captured. Meanwhile, Krusty Crew are quickly getting ready to take it for themselves, to maneuver over towards the site. Looking like they're going to be choosing that E site, or at least trying to be made super weak here in the rotation. Now actually getting taken out as Team Secret, trying to get the job done here, and looking like they're going to want to guarantee themselves another first place.
I think Secret really want to get themselves that first place. They wipe Krusty Crew in a matter of seconds. Great damage taken here by Mirror. Just again, with that 9 has been so effective. Not going to be able to get that final confirmation, but dives out of danger. No! The MGL Dagiri finds him. Oh, Light's worst nightmare. A goo gone, trying to manage an escape here. Huge damage, but he's going to get himself caught in an own cloud of goo. And I can't imagine there's a way out for him. Shut down by F3's. F-Car and well, Fnatic, they wipe Skyline away and they make a pivot, lucky try and fight Team Secret. I think Team Secret might not want any of this smoke, or they might want it because they can shut them down fairly quickly. That MGL in play, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, no, I think there's a reason why it's not a go-to weapon, and I think it's a reason even I myself am finding out relatively quickly why not that is not the one to use. But meanwhile, Team Secret, they are hiding. They are waiting for the push, waiting to move in together for whoever dares challenge them. As I don't think they've been directly challenged as of yet, but you see them as well on the X-ray. They are maneuvering about together. They are sticking to each other, which I think with the complexion of the way that this series has gone will pay dividends to them. They will be able to isolate players on a one-on-one basis. They are seeing now that D-Site is in trouble. They are going to send it down a floor and try and get some damage done here, picking up one, perhaps the second incoming. They're in a little bit of trouble now themselves, though. They are dropping health. This is all over the place here. As the sledgehammer coming through as well. The Team Secret with Elix still managing to stay alive.
It looks like Cartones missed the defib because the MGL from the side of Fnatic just sent everything flying in that room, as Fnatic are just trying to cause chaos everywhere they go. A red barrel sent out and a great dome shield to give an opportunity for an attempted steal here. But again, with an MGL in play with a hammer as well, just lob those grenades in and cause as much damage as possible. Caught mid reload's gonna be Elix for Secret, but that's a great save. OG finds a way to keep his teammate in this fight. Massive savior wins from it. They have control of the cash box still, and they should be able to walk away from it. Nothing Fnatic can do at this point. It's all down to Nagiri with the MGL. I'm not going to be too keen to take direct fights with it. No attempted time or no time to work with steel. Big RPG, big damage found, and no, he's going to find a kill with it, isn't he? Oh, go on, charge it, Slam, find the slab. Nope, shut down. OG finds a way to deny it. Oh, Team Secret wipe Fnatic yet again.
Yeah, Team Secret looking like they're going to be remaining on top here. Confident in the way that they're playing. Fnatic not been in this one for quite a while. It has gone all over the place. It is hard to predict what's going to happen next, mainly just because, again, these weapon choices, you just never know how they're going to affect how teams are defending these sites. Again, it is so off kilter. It is so out of left field. It is you know, you're not usually going to be used to dealing with what you're having to deal with here. We're seeing the SAT 12 come through to do a bit of damage here. And trying to hold the site, getting ready to pick up this 5th vault, what will be the final one for them. They would hope to get themselves over the line. It has been a weird map to watch, to say the least.
It has been a map that has left more questions than answers in the air, and I can even see your confusion in Twitch chat too. I'm not too sure what we've seen, but I'm not complaining in terms of just the chaos that we witnessed. But I tell you what, Secret not complaining either here on Sis Horizon. They're taking full advantage in the middle of this chaos, and a fortress is built of goo, a dome shield stacked up as well. He's gonna try and swing to the fences, but nobody's even there. Raveke's gonna be able to survive. No, he won't. He'll lock himself in a fortress of his own goo, and he will get shot down eventually. It's gonna be better with that melee. Finds it. Well, Fnatic are certainly having a day in the office to forget about. Certainly, as Team Secret get their cash box confirmed, and they move themselves one step closer. Just a minute 10 left to work with. No overtime declared just yet. Aimpoint finds one pick, the Crab GPT, and the battle really is at this stage for second place. Who can walk away from this one between the sides of Trusty Crew and Skyline, as Fnatic, or Team Secret, I should say, already plugging the final cash box.
Yeah, I think Fnatic are content with where they lay in regard to this this season at this stage, sitting at around that 2.9k, not really going to maneuver any more off that. They just kind of wait to hide, and as you say, the battle for second place commencing. Just taking the time, maneuvering about. It is.
Just the look, left, look, right. I think Fnatic might have missed me there. I'll escape. Wait, Fnatic have stole it, and they've doubled it. What is going on? No way. No. Fnatic, if you find a way to do this one, I'll buy your skin yet again in the store. How have they found a way to back in this one? The MGL just trying to find some damage, inconsistent at range, but if you just put enough grenades in the middle of this mixer without an APS to work with, it can be huge. But Nagiri gets himself caught up in the FAMAS of Elix on Secret. The hammer is ready. He's made a nest of goo, and he's waiting for the right opportunity to dive on in. He finds one member of Team Secret, locks him in a prism of his own goo, and this is going to be a nightmare as Fnatic are so close to taking a wipe here, and a few extra bullets for good measures. That we have 45 seconds. Can Fnatic hold on?
No would be the short answer, but I'm certainly excited to see them try, as we are going to see a potential capture coming here, a potential steal. It doesn't quite happen. Surely someone is stealing this from this point on. It looks just about inevitable. Looks like it's going to happen. Doesn't,
no,
it doesn't,
no!
Oh my god, it doesn't happen! Are they actually going to do it? They've proven me wrong.
Fnatic are so close to getting this across the finish line. Of course, only down to the heavy rain can now, but he can use that goo gun. He can try and sneak in. He's got that hammer to try and cause all sorts of chaos, and he only has to hold on for a few more seconds. Fnatic are back up to fighting strength. 7 seconds remain. Can the steal arrive? Skyline get across the finish line. Yes, they do. They take first place, steal it from Fnatic, and send them down the 4th. Massive performance from Skyline yet again. Well, chaos absolutely everywhere here on Sis Horizon.
Well, I think I can safely say with all due confidence that that was the map of all time. I think is the best way to describe that one. It was an interesting one, to say the least. One of which Skyline definitely won't be complaining about, coming through with the steal at the death. The double up from Fnatic, trying to be a little bit cheeky towards the finish, is one that Skyline ultimately capitalizes on, with Team Secret finishing out in seconds. A side that maybe feel a little hard done by at the end of all that, because Secret, you could definitely see, were a side that were still really trying to, try and lock in, get the job done, get that first place. But Fnatic going in there, causing a little bit of chaos, going against the status quo, just trying to sort of throw things off, ultimately leads to a situation that's not Secret capitalizing on, but it's Skyline as they take first.
That was, I'm honestly a little bit lost for words for what we've just seen going into it. I'll give the credits, of course, to Secret. They took full advantage of getting the points like they did. Skyline for a huge play. I'll take this down to an individual basis, because I think that's a good measure of what we've seen, and it's going to be Roma especially on Team Secret and OG so far. The light and heavy combination on Secret has been fantastic so far today. Elix, a great clutch up medium, but those two have led the charging kills every single performance, and it feels like Secret are just essentially turn to the team. If you anger any of those, you're done. If OG hits those shots with the BFR, or if he dives in with a shotgun, it is over for you. And Roma has been exceptional at that 9-3R all day long, so take a bow there. But for the massive kind of point salary going into it, we'll have to wait as the math numbers get done in the background. Not my speciality, but Zep, chaos all day long, it feels.
Yeah, I mean, chaos all day long. It's just been so phenomenal to watch them start to finish. Again, you know, I've had the privilege of finally getting in here to cast the finals today, seeing what all these teams over on the side of the EU have to offer in the final week. You know, in the final week, it can be one of those ones where, depending on your placement, you may feel okay with taking your foot off the gas pedal, but it's also a moment where you want to show what you're made of, and you want to kind of set your best foot going forward into what is going to be why you've done it, why you've been playing for these weeks, what it all matters for. You want to try and really sort of almost instill fear in your opponents, in your opposition. And look, it was very all over the place. I've seen a range of weapons. I've seen some top quality games, ones that maybe fell a little bit under that in terms of the messes that were being used. But ultimately, it was, I think, a very, very fun day to watch from top to bottom, getting the opportunity to cover all these teams, seeing what they bring to the table. And as you said, Roma, what was it, map number 317 eliminations at one point. Phenomenal performance from start to finish, particularly in that one. Just goes to show why Team Secret are where they are.
Well, the ink is dry on this final day of European cash out, and it's time to take a look at our standings as today ends. We're going to be taking a look at how everything shapes up, getting ready for our action on Saturday between these teams. And I'm very curious about where everything lies as we get our points tally ready to go. And we're ready to go for this. This will be our Saturday grouping going into it. And I tell you what, this is very intriguing indeed. As we see, I'm going to start from the bottom here, Zep. As we saw, Fnatic and Alliance both have, I think, inconsistent days. They found themselves both down in Group C. Krusty Crew and Books will be joining them down there. We go to Group B. Pulsar, Genji, Nighthammer Brisket, and Gamblers round that up nicely. And again, I think that Group B looks very interesting for me, but both Genji and Pulsar not having great performances, and Gamblers and Nighthammer Brisket seemingly can't avoid each other in these matchups at all. But Zep, look at Group A going into a Team Secret against Emerald Apes. I'm very excited for that one.
Oh yeah, that is going to be absolutely phenomenal. I think that Group A is really showing us that. I think Group A is one of those ones where every map could have a different winner, dare I say it, right? Because I mean, we have seen from all of those teams on an individual basis what they can bring to the table. And granted, right, there is some differences here and there in terms of the actual levels where they did place in the league, but I don't know. I think the way that we've seen them perform, and I think you'd have to be silly to maybe count out a team like Upcoming, for example, who, as you were telling me, they were really growing in to the league throughout the course of the season. And I think we're very dominant by the stage that we got to today. And what I've seen from them, the teamwork, the cohesion, I think they can really take it up against any side.
I think so as well, and well, that's everything set for Saturday, but we can take a look at our global standings, how everything has played out across our 5 play days so far. Team Secret and Fnatic maintain their 1 and 2 positions. Skyline elevate themselves to 3rd, Emerald Apes have took a dive up, and well, plummeting all the way down from 3rd, it's going to be Alliance down there. And well, if we look down at the bottom, not a lot of movement there. Upcoming dropping down a little bit, Gamblers, Pulsar, Nighthammer Brisket, and Genji rounding out our final few teams there. And while Genji finally get themselves across that 1,000 point limit, it's been a difficult day for them indeed, but everything's shaping up. And I'm looking at this going, especially as I look towards our groups for Saturday, I'm so excited to see how things go. Of course, we have, it's one cash out game, goes into then 2 3v3s for how teams play out. I'm expecting a potential upset, and I'm thinking Team Secret might be the team to be the one that falls from that upset. I think there's a chance to see Team Secret not walk away with a maximum points tally from Saturday.
Yeah, you know something? I do think that is very, very possible. I mean, you just take a look at all the sides that are left in, and you take a look at even take like the Fnatic side, for example, right? It's hard to tell for how the way that some of those games went today, that you know that certain teams are not playing at their very best in the sense of were they bringing it all to the table or were they just trying something new. I have a feeling that, you know, in regards to a lot of these teams, that in every group that we've seen, they have more cards up their sleeve to use when it matters the most. You don't want to burn through everything that you have that you could bring to the table in terms of showcasing your abilities in that league stage. You want to save something special for when you really get towards the back end, when it really starts counting. So I think you're absolutely right. I think there could be an upset on, and I think you'd be silly to count really any of these teams out in the top half at this stage.
I couldn't agree more, and I think I'll just quickly pivot, of course, to the 2 teams that lowest in their daily standings. It's going to be Alliance and Fnatic. They're going to be in Group C against Books and Krusty Crew. I'm very curious to see how that goes between those sides. I've imagined we'll see a 3v3 between both Fnatic and Alliance for that one, but that is everything done. That's going to be cash out for Europe, all wrapped up. Zep, it was a pleasure to have you on the microphone here. It was a pleasure to cast with fellow countrymen. I tell you what, we have one more thing to do, of course, here. We have to thank our wonderful sponsor who's making so much a contribution here, giving a lot for these teams to play for, and it's going to be Broxton, who's amazing for our community. He's done so much and giving a lot for these players to work for.
Yeah, absolutely. Massive shout out again, making it happen for the players. It's what these scenes need. You need someone who's going to be willing to come through and, you know, just help out wherever they can. I think every scene needs it. Again, myself, even on the esports side of things, I try to run some grassroots stuff, and you really just need the help from everyone who's around, who's passionate about it, wanting to make it happen, and a vital component in making this happen here today. So I just want to also say for myself as well, a personal thank for having me on and Whippet guiding me through my first day of casting the finals. Been an absolute pleasure, and thank you very much as well to Pro Hubs having me on here today as well. Been an absolute pleasure. Looking forward to it coming back in the future. If I'm invited back, guys, that is. We'll see. I'll have to ask. Can I come back?
Well, it was certainly a pleasure. Thanks for everyone in Twitch chat for joining us for this adventure and our safari trek for European cash out to wrap things up nicely. That's everything done. Don't forget, Saturday we continue with the last Playday of Europe before we go into Champs. North America will be on later on today, so keep an eye on socials for that going forward. But everything here for Europe, that's us done. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you later on.